Okay, if I can get my screen straight here, figured I'd get on here this evening and talk to the folks. Obviously, for those, as people begin filtering in here, obviously we have a number of topics we want to talk about. Number one being President Trump. Number 45 is back on Twitter. Now, I want to find out from the folks, do you think that's a good thing? President Trump, Elon Musk, has restored President Trump's access to Twitter and his account is back active. So what do you guys think? Think that's a good thing? Good for America? Good for the MAGA 2024 campaign? We're going to be talking about the fact that there was another mass casualty event at an LGBT nightclub last evening in Colorado. Is this just part of living in this country? Is mass casualty events, is that something you would just shout America? Because that is part of living in this country. And last but not least, the Department of Justice has appointed a special counsel. And I'm asking the crazy question, would this finally please MAGA? MAGA has been saying from day one that the investigations of Trump are unfair, biased, and political. Appointing a special counsel, will this make any difference at all? I'm going to go back to the box. Appreciate you guys coming in. Let me make it clear. There's over 900 of you in here. This is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests. You come in the box. I always make the solemn promise I will give you plenty of time to state your point without any fear, absolutely any fear of being banned, blocked, or censored for how you speak. The fact that you may disagree with the host means absolutely nothing at all. But I want you guys to hear a couple clips because we are talking about going forward for President Trump. And I want you to hear a clip from none other than the last Republican Speaker of the House, which is indeed Paul Ryan. And I want you guys to let me know in the comment box, what do you think of Paul Ryan's statement?
What we now know, it's pretty clear, is with Trump we lose. So I don't mean this personally. It's just evidence. We lost the House in 18, we lost the presidency in 20, we lost the Senate in 20, and now in 2022, we should have and could have won the Senate. We didn't. And we have a much lower majority in the House because of that Trump factor. So I think it's palpable right now. We get past Trump, we start winning elections. We stick with Trump, we keep losing elections. That's just how I see it.
But he had incredible power in the primaries.
Yeah.
I mean, his candidates won in the Republican primaries almost across the board.
That's the point. He can get his people through the primaries, but they can't win general elections. So it's really clear. I think the Republican voter is going to move on. That's why I don't think he ends up winning the nomination at the end of the day. I think we have a great stable of good, capable conservatives who are more than capable of winning this primary for presidency and winning the election. And I think Republican voters know that. So that's why I think our voters ultimately who really want to win are going to give us candidates who can win.
What will it mean to the Republican Party if he actually wins the nomination again?
So, Paul Ryan, I see in the comments, folks are saying that looks like Tabar, I can't pronounce the name, but Tabar is saying Paul Rhino is Paul Ryan, if I can say this properly, Paul Ryan is a rhino. Paul Ryan? Really? Republican in name only? Paul Ryan? You believe Paul Ryan is a rhino? Conservatives are the only hope for Americans. Cleo, if that is the case, why did they not support them in the midterms? I'm not going to bloviate too long. I'm going to go right to the box. Who do we have here this evening? What do you guys think? This is young Carl. Carl, good evening and welcome to the program. What do you believe? Okay, well, it looks like Carl, for some reason. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, okay, now, did you hear Paul Ryan speaking there?
Can you hear
Young
me?
Carl. Yeah, I can hear you now. Did you hear Paul Ryan
Sorry, it
speak?
was lagging all over the place. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't I don't think Trump running is a good thing because it's just going to cause more division, and I feel like that's our real problem with like how we really communicate in society too. So I don't personally like Trump, but I don't really like the Democrats either.
Okay, do you typically lean right or left then?
Left. I voted for Joe.
You voted for Biden. How do you feel about Biden's performance so far?
Um, I feel like he's made some interesting like decisions, and he doesn't really articulate much about how he plans to improve things. He kind of just wants to push policies from, his constituents, and it's a lot of it's very vague, and it goes against or to kind of um what's the word I'm looking for, to like
I don't know.
address
Let me
issues
ask it to you
that
this way.
people.
You said you lean left. How do you feel about Biden suggesting minimum wage should be raised to $15 an hour?
I'm not an economist, but I've been trying to do research to understand what it means for the minimum wage to be increased in our like capitalist sort of framework. And it seems that it does have some downsides. I don't know
Okay.
if that's good enough to say it's not viable to have a minimum wage what it should
Okay.
be in a way.
Fair enough. How do you feel about Biden suggesting that if he gets the ability, he would codify abortion rights for women? How do you feel about what has happened with abortion rights?
I don't think he personally cares. I think he's doing it for his base
How do
because he
you
knows
feel?
it's.
What is your opinion on a woman's right to choose? You believe it? You believe it's the unborn's life should be protected, or do you
I'm
believe a woman
pro-choice.
should have the right to choose?
No, I'm pro-choice.
Okay, all right. I'm
Yeah,
trying to because you said you lean left. I'm just trying to
yeah.
kind
I
of.
don't think Biden. I don't think Biden really cares that much about it. He knows that's a huge portion of his voting base, though. I don't think that's important to him necessarily because he's said otherwise in the past,
Yeah.
just as he
Well,
has with many
well,
issues.
yeah. In regards to a politician not necessarily caring about the issues, but doing it because that's what their constituents want, I would submit to you that that's just typical politics. I think they all do that to some degree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And when
You
they're
would have.
concerned with things that most Americans aren't really like asking for, is that's another thing that's like, okay, what are you doing here? What is your
Yeah.
incentive? Because it's not the majority of.
Where's your
You have
Where's
something
your
to say?
mindset on what's your mindset on tuition loan forgiveness?
Um, it's nice to help people that are in a bad spot. Most people are in a bad spot. I mean, look at the numbers. So yeah, that could definitely help people, and I don't think it's going to happen though because it's like
Would
not
you support it
constitutional.
if it came for a vote and you had to vote on it? Would you support it?
I don't know all the implications of it. What would it mean to spend that mass amount of money to help people? What would it do?
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, the assistance that he is giving to the Ukraine time and time again. What is your mindset? Do you support that?
Yes and no. Uh, because I feel like it's important to know what our motivation for helping them is. And I don't think
Hmm.
it's strictly because they're a sovereign nation that deserves protection. And because if that was the case, they would already be a part of NATO. But they've already kind of proven themselves to not be worthy of that in many people's eyes. And I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't say
Okay,
if
all right.
they are capable. But that basically sums up. I don't think we should be sending all of that money. I mean,
Okay.
but
Okay,
also Russia.
I have one because I'm still trying to figure out. I have one last question. I got to move it on, but before I let you go, I got one last question. An individual with no criminal record just turned 18. They've been working in fast food, saved up a bunch of money. That 18-year-old that just turned 18 wants to be able to go out and purchase two long rifles and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Would you be okay if they didn't have any criminal record being able to purchase that?
Just based off of criminal record? I mean, there's other things that you would want to check, right?
Let's say there's
Like their
no
mental
sign of
health.
any mental illness. Let's say that there is zero signs of any mental illness.
I don't know. I think there would have to be certain permits you'd have to get and classes you'd have to take in a certain way. I don't think you should be handed guns like that, especially I don't think it should be that accessible. I think you'd have to earn that in a way.
So how do you
Especially,
feel about
there's a lot of
how do
things that
how
go
do you
into
feel about
account.
the Second Amendment right? Your Second Amendment rights are, as long as there's nothing on your jacket in terms of crime or mental illness, the minute you reach the age of maturity, you are allowed to purchase weapons. So you don't believe in the shall not be infringed upon part. You're talking about tests and
I think,
permits.
yeah, I guess you could say that because I feel like we're at a point in our society where if there isn't some checks and balances, like these things are going to happen. But I don't think the point should be trying to limit the number of people that have guns. I think it should be trying to raise people's competence with them. And also, there's a lot of things that go into mass shootings, man. I don't know if can I say that? It's written on your board.
I should say
There's a
mass. Just
lot
say
that goes
mass
into that.
casualty events. Mass
Okay,
casualty
okay.
events.
There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
It's a terrible problem that we have. I don't know
Yeah.
how we could fix it, but it
Fair enough.
doesn't. Like how many like mass events have happened with these weapons
601.
you're talking about? With
601
these
this
weapons
year.
this year, there's 600. Wow,
Yeah. And that's actually
wow.
went down. That actually went down. Believe it or not. It went down a few of them.
Is it just like more than? I'm trying to. I haven't looked at the data. Is it more than one person? Like each
Yeah.
event? Like what
Yeah. More.
constitute?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's three or more, I believe, but I'm not correct. But I did hear this morning on ABC News 601.
Yeah, I definitely have to look into that. But it is a tricky thing. It's like we're in a weird situation in this country. I don't know if I should be able to. I don't. Yeah, because it is important for people to have their own collective,
Yeah.
ideas and be able to like vote to something to exercise your point. But it's also weird because the situation that we have in this country when there's so many guns, it's like, are we just gonna limit people that don't already have them, and then like criminals can just still do these things?
Well, I got to move it on, but I will tell you this. A lot of these folks are not criminal. They don't become criminal until they start shooting people, such as the Highland Park guy that took a bunch of lives at the July
Well,
4th
yeah, yeah,
parade.
yeah.
Ubalde, the guy in Ubalde matches the exact scenario I gave you. Just turned 18, did not have a criminal record, purchased, some long rifles and a bunch of ammunition. The one in Vegas out the Mandalay Bay, most of these folks are not criminals. Most of them do not have a criminal record. So I don't know if you go by crime alone, would that do anything? But young Carl, I got to move it on, man.
All right, thanks, man.
Good talk. You're welcome back anytime. All right, looking at
the comments, we'll go right back to the box in a minute. He was interviewed, says Highland Park. Yeah, exactly. I'm just simply saying that these young kids do not have a significant criminal history that would ban them, or even in most cases, not even get them flagged. The Sandy Hook guy, there was no criminal history for Sandy Hook. So most of these folks, if you go by a criminal record, you're not going to, it wouldn't make a difference. So it just goes back to, I guess we could say mental health, but we're not doing anything about mental health in this country. And I've presented the question on some of my other programs: should we raise the age of maturity for owning firearms? And everyone was against that, particularly because this is a MAGA friendly audience. I always make it clear: MAGA's the preferred guest on the program, but liberals are welcome as well. Solemn promise I do not ban, block, or censor anyone. So the questions we're asking today, I'll go right to the box right now. Trump is back on Twitter. Is that a good thing? Mass casualty events, as you heard me speaking to my last caller about, is that just part of living in this country? You know, we all can access and have cars. So having car accidents is just kind of a condition of living in a nation where everybody has cars. Is that the same mindset with guns? They're just simply living in a country that has Second Amendment rights. You're going to have mass casualty events. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the special counsel being appointed in regards to President Trump. Will that even please MAGA at all? They've been saying it's been unfair since day one. What do you think? Mark, the boss. Good evening and welcome to the program. Mark, what do you believe owning firearms, as a condition of owning firearms, mass casualty events is just part of the equation?
Uh, it's part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole fact of the Second Amendment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think what we need to fix is the fact of of for example, like a military guy, right? Before you take control of the gun, you got to go to some type of training.
Yeah.
At least know how to hold it. Know the danger it affects the people. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
these
but
people
how do you feel about the phrase "your Second Amendment rights shall not be infringed upon"? In other words, you're not going to put any hurdles or infringements in the way of somebody owning a firearm. Everything you're talking about, while yours truly, I believe what you're saying is totally logic and reasonable, it is infringement. You're putting additional hurdles in the way of somebody owning a firearm. So, how do you feel about the phrase "shall not be infringed upon"?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's more like a common sense thing, like we understand what a firearm could do. You know what I'm saying? Like I own my firearm. I haven't taken no lessons or anything, but I got a little common sense. Like I know the dangers it can cause. So like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it just I mean, it's just something where like for example, you said your car, right? Like you really 18 years old, you can get a license, you can get a car, stuff like that, But at the end of the day, when you go to the DMV, you got to know the rules, you got to know the laws. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
have to be some kind of training, some kind of advice. I mean, a gun could take a life away, so it'd be kind of nice to like. I mean, no one's taking the rights away. You feel me? Like, no one's saying, "Oh, you can't own a
Well,
gun."
wait a minute. But just to some degree, you would be taking the rights away because now you're allowing another man to judge another man. In other words, I've turned 18. I want to purchase an AK and I want to purchase some a drum or something to go along with it. And now I got to be interviewed, and I have someone else making an opinion based on the interview of whether I should have a firearm or not. I don't have
Right.
any criminal record. I don't have any mental health issues. But because the person sitting across from me has some type of predisposed notion, maybe it's because I'm a guy and it's a feminist, maybe because I'm black and the person's white, maybe I'm tall
Right.
and the person's short. You get where I'm saying how
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
it could
yeah.
go?
Or at least something where, like, we can be like, okay, check it out. Like, we gave you an instruction, a little, instruction on how to, like, at least manage it, use it. So we're like, whenever you do get to commit a crime, if you ever do, at least you know that, you were told, by some type of people, like, okay, well, if you actually do something bad with it, well, there's precautions. I mean, there's like, there's a problem that could come with it. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm good in how it is right now. But the way all these mass shootings and everything, that's been happening, you're just kind of like, fuck, man, like, can we change something? Is there
So
something?
let me ask it to you. Let me ask it to you from this standpoint. Let's say you were the governor of a state and you
Uh-huh.
had the ability to do something that you thought could control or reduce mass shootings. What would you do?
Honestly, what I would do first, raise the age limit to 21 at least. The
Okay.
same as when you're able to buy alcohol. You feel me? Like at least,
Right.
because why? When you're 18, you're still a kid, brother. Like you're still making dumb decisions. And I'm 30, I'm 36 right now. And I see myself as when I was 18, I was still kind of dumb. I got my DUIs at 18. I got in trouble with the law when I was 18, around that time. At least when you're 21, when you're supposedly able to, like, out here, be like, oh, okay, well, now you're okay to drink, you're okay to go get alcohol. At least you're kind of, you're more of an adult now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man,
So,
but
so how
I
do
do
you?
feel like
Okay,
age might be
I'm
a
gonna
good,
give
a
you an
good reason.
example. In the comments, Loose Lugnuts, I love the name. Loose Lugnuts said, "I love my firearms," and he said, "You can't control the bad people." So, how
Right.
would you feel if you were, like I said, you're governor, and one of
Hmm.
your voters comes and tells you you really can't control bad people? I mean,
Right.
I
You know
like
what,
mine.
brother? You know what?
Go ahead.
I would be all for it. Like letting like civilians like have your weapon, conceal carry gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like there's a lot of scenarios where a civilian could be armed. Hidden armed. You have your arm on your waist or whatever. Hidden
Okay.
whatever, and say there's a mass shooting about to go down, and it's happened like the last one in Indiana at the mall. Remember the black male that had his weapon that he saved. I believe he saved a few lives. You know what I'm saying? He was actually,
Okay.
he had his gun. So, if I was the governor, and I'm in California, so California has one of the strictest, gun laws.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In the
Yeah.
whole country. So, um, when I carry, I mean, I don't carry my stuff, but I have it at home. But like, I feel much safer. And even sometimes my wife tells me, babe, like, how come you don't, like, it would be nice to have your shit on right now, because we see there's a big rise of like population of like homelessness. Crime is going up. Like there's gang members out here with illegal guns. You know what I'm saying? That are not even registered to them,
Yeah.
and they're actually carrying them in the streets, brother. So like us, that we're civilian people, that we're actually paying taxes, we're actually pretty,
Well,
doing
wait,
good
wait
in
a minute. So let
society.
me. You mentioned gang members carrying guns that are not registered. So do you believe firearms should require a registration?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because my gun is registered. Yeah, of course, you have to.
Mine is not.
Oh, you're not.
They didn't require that in my state.
Oh man, nah, yeah. Well, out here, yeah. When I went to the gun shooting, I had it registered. I had to get the 24-hour the cooling period. You know what I'm saying? Where like I had to wait 24 hours to get my gun. Like say I bought it on Monday, I couldn't get it till Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So like,
Well, you
they
are, but at the end of the day, you are in California. And I will tell you
yes,
that
yes,
most states nowadays do not require you to
right,
register a gun. I mean, you got states now that do not even require you to have a permit or anything. Once you
yes,
turn
yes.
18, you can go have a party. So, other than the criminal record background check, a lot of states, I mean, the registration thing is getting outdated to some degree. And in the comments, I saw someone said, looks like Blitzkrieg. Oh my God, Blitzkrieg. We all know what Blitzkrieg means. Anyway, Blitzkrieg said gun registration is unconstitutional. So he's saying that you're violating his constitutional rights by even requiring him to register a gun.
Yeah, but okay, if you put yourself in some shoes. In say if you get a family of yours gets shot by a not registered gun, and they don't catch the criminal. I mean, who are we gonna go? Oh, it was just the criminal that had a ghost gun. You could say, right? I
Okay.
mean,
Well, I gotta,
aren't you
I
gonna feel
gotta,
bad?
I gotta, yeah, I gotta move it on. But in regards to
Okay.
your comment about if your family member gets shot with an unregistered gun, how do you respond to the phrase "criminals are not going to register their guns anyway"?
Right. Yeah, they won't do it. They won't do it. But you know
Yeah.
what? At least the ones that are registered, at least you'll get to, catch the guy and stuff like that. The ones that are not, well, that's something that the government needs to do, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not cool. But I'm a conservative, brother. I'm a Republican. I live in California. You know what I'm saying? I voted for Trump one, 2 times. I'll vote for him again. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the whole Paul Ryan. That was the reason why I kind of joined in your
What do
conversation.
you? What do you? Okay, okay. I'll give you a minute before we move on. But in regards to what Paul Ryan said, do you think Trump yourself, being a conservative, supporting Trump twice, do you believe Trump is the best candidate for Republicans going forward in 2024?
Nah, man. You know what? I like Trump, brother. I like Trump. I wish he was our president right now at the moment. I don't think we would have been in this whole mess where we're at right now with the economy and all this bullshit, gas and everything. But at the end of the day, like the Democrat that came in, there's a lot of division between Trump and even some Republicans. Like I have some family that are like, some are like, you know what, like oh man, he just brings a lot of division and this and that. Like I would like Trump, but I think it's better for the conservative party to get like DeSantis, someone else. You know what I'm saying? I think I think this country needs a change like that. You know what I'm saying? We're like and not just that, but we need younger people to be in office. I think we got to get rid of all these motherfuckers that are like ages 65 and up to get out of here, bro. Because honestly, these so-called rhinos and all that, they're not making no changes. They're making no difference. They're just getting us still in the same ball. They still have the same ideology. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel like we need somebody young. We need somebody with a better mentality. Someone that is gonna like spark up the new generation. You know what I'm saying, bro? And
Yeah.
but still
Well,
be
okay,
conservative and
fair,
stuff like that.
fair enough. But I will tell you, there is no age limit on rhinos. You can
Yeah, I
get a
know that.
rhino that's 20, you can get a rhino that's 21 years old. So going younger does not guarantee you're going to avoid rhinos. But I got to move it on, Mark.
All right, brother. Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate
A-
it, and God bless you, man. Yeah.
Absolutely a pleasure. Come on back anytime. Come on back anytime.
Likewise.
Oh, looking in the comment, I go right back to the box, but Democrats are condoning mental illnesses, and we wonder why bad shit keeps happening. Condoning. First, I would wonder what is your definition or explanation of condoning? Because I mean, there are mass casualty events happening in states like Florida, Pulse nightclub, Parkland, Florida, the school shooting. Democrats have little to no control in Florida, yet they're having mass casualty events. So I don't know if this is something you can totally blame on Democrats, but I would love for you to come in the box. Blitzkrieg, very successful operation for war in World War II. Blitzkrieg, going back to the comments, or better yet to the box. Fast Pass, 1, 2, 3. Good evening, Fast Pass. In regards to my last caller saying that Trump is not the best option going forward, how do you feel about that?
Well, hey, how you been anyway? I
Been good.
good. I think you may have forgotten my stance on that, but I would vote for Trump if he wins the nomination. But I probably would pull for DeSantis. Maybe even Pompilio, but I'm not going to go out before everything's said and done and it runs its course. And I might find out that there's video of one of them torturing a cat somewhere. I'm going to wait till the end, which is one of the
Okay,
reasons why I
let
don't
me
like
let
early
me
voting. I think early voting is not real intelligent because people don't. I think you need every bit of information you can get until you make you can't make a fully educated decision
I don't. Well,
unless you.
I gotta say right off the bat, I totally disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. I don't think if someone
Mm-hmm.
supports Trump, if someone supported Trump and they supported Trump, let's say we just voted in November, and
Right.
you knew in August of this year you were down with MAGA. You believe the economy was much better under Trump. You believe the Ukrainian situation would not happen. That person was good to vote in August. They weren't going to change their mind by November. I don't think there's hardly any MAGA out there between August and November that changed their mind. So I disagree that you should wait up to election
Well,
day because you might change your mind.
what about Fetterman? Do you think that people would have changed their mind after the debate on Fetterman for Senate
Well,
office in
yeah,
Pennsylvania?
yeah,
Because there
yes,
was a
and
record of Google
yeah.
searches, wasn't there, of how do I
Yeah,
change my
I
vote?
get your point. Yeah, I get your point. There are always going to be a few people that change their mind, but at the end of the
We
day,
are polarized. I got you. I know what you're saying. I mean, people are going to generally, they made up their mind, before, which is a shame. But because
well,
nobody's,
I'll give you an example.
everybody's polarized.
Look at
Yeah.
what Mark Zuckerberg and the tech industry said about Biden, where the Fed stepped in and prevented them from saying things, and people were like, "If I had knew that, I wouldn't have voted for Biden." So even if you wait to election day, there's still going to be things you don't find out, and that may have affected your vote. So I'm
The
not a
old,
fan of forcing a country of 330 million people to all vote on the same day unless you give them that day off. If people have to work that day and move about as
sure,
normal, then let
sure.
them vote early.
Sure. Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, like I don't. I'm not saying that there needs to be 2 days or one day early. I mean, you should have early voting when you do it for 2-3 months. And now we have situations where you have to count and count and count, and it, there's different,
Why not online?
and
What
then
about
we
online?
cure, and then we
What about
cure.
online?
Well, hey, why not an 800 number? I mean, one
Yeah.
of the reasons I think it's sacrosanct, man, and I think it's definitely such an important thing that we give it just like, hey, it's like a poll, and it is a poll, but it's really, really what separates you from a lot of other countries is that we have the right to vote, and it does matter. And I think it's sacrosanct. I think it's very, very important. I was reading a book. I read a book. I just reread it. It's called "Fighting for Virtue and Liberty," and it was by Olasky. Wrote it, Martin Olasky, and it's really has a lot of insight about elections, and um, it tells you a lot about what happens and how the
Okay.
elections were handled. And of course, election day was a day off. It was where everybody, it was a
Yeah.
big deal. I mean, they were, go get your whiskey, go get your, dram of whiskey, or you'd get a bottle
Well,
of
let me
brandy
let
just
me
to
ask
vote.
you this though. Let
But
me ask you
I'm
this.
for the holiday. I'm for the
Okay,
holiday. And I even
so am
for a
I.
week or
Let
two.
me but hang on,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. You can do your taxes online. You can move millions of dollars from one bank account to another bank account online. Why is it that why shouldn't voting be allowed to be done online? If we trust people to do all of this other stuff online, why is it that you got to physically walk in with a piece
Hey,
of
man.
paper in 2022?
Come on, man. People bought FTX stock online too. And people do a lot of, there's a lot of things online that are definitely hackable.
So why would
Um,
you? So if you can hack online, why would you allow
yes.
people to do their taxes or move bank money online if they can hack everything?
Well, it's done. I mean, it is. People do, but it's the difference between paying taxes and voting for your elected leaders. I think is kind of two different things. One makes the law for the other. That one of them is the power of the land, and the other one is just the result of the power that you voted for. Um, I think there's quite a bit of difference between those comparisons, but
Oh,
I'm for the holiday. I don't think people should have to wait in line, and then we come down to the last minute. I'm not for what happened in Maricopa County either, and to say that it didn't have some kind of effect is kind of disingenuous. But if it wasn't done, it would have had the same effect on everybody. Now,
here's my
what a Republic? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Here's my problem. When it comes to doing things online with paper, under the claim that it's going to be more legitimate, to me, it's lost on me because I look at what happened in 2000 with Al Gore. In this last election, they were talking about checking signatures, which I can't believe anyone will be still using signatures as a way of identifying anything in 2022.
Me
But to me,
neither.
it seems old fashioned. And I still submit that if you make folks come in physically with ballots, that doesn't guarantee folks aren't going to cheat. It just makes them cheat a different way. Just like the Second Amendment folks say, if you ban guns, criminals will just find another way. You're going to tell me with paper ballots, there's no way to cheat. There's no way to pay off the person that's taking the ballots to throw some of them out. I mean, you
Uh,
cannot guarantee a safe system no matter what you do.
No, it needs to be safe and it needs to be quick. I don't think there needs to be counting for a month after the election. I don't think I don't this curing ballots stuff too. What divining what the voter's intent was? Did he scratch the paper? He didn't fill it out completely. Let me fill it out for him. I don't know how that flies in the face of honesty too. But and I'm not no conspiracy theorist. I mean, the votes were counted and they're counted, but it's become it's become a sort of a game where you get good at it by harvesting the most ballots. You get good at it by going to the places that you're going. So the Republicans are going to, I mean, it's probably here for stay. But they're going to have to get better at doing the way the Democrats do it. They'll, like I said, they're going to have to go to NASCAR. They're going to have to go to MMA fights. They're going to
Okay,
have to be
what are you
standing
saying the
outside
Democrats
of
do?
places
What are you saying the Democrats are doing that the Republicans got to get good at?
with the early vote. They get the early
Oh.
vote. Yeah, the early vote. They're really good at that. And
But I don't get why the Republicans were against early voting to begin with. Like I just told you before, going in and voting physically does not guarantee by any means that cheating won't happen. You
well,
can pay off
what
ballot
about
officials.
absentee? What about absentee?
What about
Completely.
it?
Well, 63% of European nations outlaw it. Japan outlaws it. The
Well,
absentee,
Japan, yeah, but Japan,
unless you are
wait.
physically out of the
Japan,
country.
hold on. Japan
Yeah.
also outlaws firearms. You want to use Japan as an example?
No, this is voting, firearms and voting. Again, don't conflate. That's like saying, hey, people
Well,
like chocolate
yeah,
ice
but
cream or people like
you're picking.
spinach. Come on,
You're
man.
picking and
That's
choosing.
conflating.
Well, wait. You can't pick and choose what parts of Japan are good.
Well, voting is a simple pick of a candidate. Okay, firearms was something that was written into the Constitution at the beginning. It's a little bit different to conflate those two issues, but that's like saying they can't use red dye in their foods in other countries. But
Yeah.
there are some things that they do that I think is a reason behind it. If 63% of European nations do not allow absentee voting, there has to be a reason. If other
Okay.
countries don't allow it, I think there's a reason, and we need to look into it. What is the
But
reason that
let's
absentee
go
voting
with
is
what you
done?
said.
Because you're absentee, not
Let's
because
go with
you're,
what you said. You said
yeah,
63% of countries
in
do
Europe.
not allow absentee voting. There has to be a reason to look into it. What if
Europe.
I presented to you that almost all of European countries provide universal health care? There has to be a reason. Let's look into it. How
We
would you
are
feel
looking
about
into
that?
it. We are looking into it.
We
Yeah.
are?
Yeah. Well, I
What
mean,
are you
we
coming up
were.
with?
We aren't anymore, brother, because you lost the house, but we were looking into it. We
Right.
were looking into it. AOC just lost some power, brother. So I don't know how that's going to stand. But back to your,
You
how
said,
about back
wait.
to
You
your,
said AOC
oh
lost
well,
some
yeah,
power? Yeah.
AOC and some other people on the in the minority now have
Yeah.
definitely lost their voice.
That is
Um,
true.
and we'll see what happens. Now, hey, the House has the ball. I think a lot of they have half the football. Um, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes on. The idea of, I think, going days and days and days and days to find out who your leaders are is what's breeding these conspiracy theories. It's what's making people suspect. That's why they're coming out and saying, let's get it done, get it over with, and move on with our lives, man. That's what I
That
think.
wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen if you were voting online. The computer would count that stuff instantly.
Well, Florida did it in five, and didn't they do it in 5, 6 hours or something? But I don't
I
know.
don't know, but I'm just simply saying if you did it online, you wouldn't have to wait very long at all. You know immediately. In fact, you would actually see the votes being counted as you could literally put them on the screen as they're coming in
Well,
and count them right off the
that's
bat.
good. Hey, that's not might not being that bad idea. You may be right
Yeah,
there, because Florida,
yeah,
you can go in there and you can look up your vote afterwards. You can see that it counted.
yeah,
You can go online. So maybe even though they're a red state, they may have something going on. And yeah, you might have an idea there. I'm
yeah.
more for that than I am for counting them. I mean, we got counties still haven't figured out who their leaders are. We got people that still don't know who their congressional representatives are, and there's people sitting around, and families are
I get
wondering,
it.
but
I get it.
I like, I haven't talked to you in a while, and I think that's there are some open ideas now. We're going to have another, what, maybe 12, 18 months before the vitriol really starts rolling heavy again.
Yeah.
um but we should we should be having the
Well,
conversations all
let
the
me just
time.
say, Trump is in the race, so it ain't gonna be 12 months. The minute another Republican announces they're gonna run, the vitriol is gonna begin. Trump's gonna start attacking him immediately. But what do you think? You think Trump is the best for Republicans going forward in 24?
I'm of the Buckley school of electing, that we should elect the most conservative electable candidate. That's what I
I get
think.
it. I get
And
it.
I don't. I
That's all
think
you
he's
got
the
to say.
most. I think he's. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um.
All right, man. I got to move it on.
All right. Good talking to
Fast.
you.
Absolutely a pleasure. And that man said it. The most electable.
I want you guys. I'm gonna go right back to the box. And I see a few folks are holding on, but I want you to hear this clip. And I'm sure some folks will be yelling "Rhino," whatever the case may be. But this is former New Jersey Senator Chris Christie.
Stand for the things we believe in and actually be hell-bent on getting them done.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, however, calling on the party to cast aside former President Trump.
We keep losing and losing and losing. And the fact of the matter is, the reason we're losing is because Donald Trump has put himself before everybody else.
Same for Maryland.
So, why would Chris Christie? Now, Chris Christie is a longtime friend of the former president, so he's no stranger to Trump. He is also no stranger to politics, considering he also ran for office in 2016. So, I want to know from you guys, particularly my MAGA followers. I'll go right back to the box, but as I always say, it's a MAGA-friendly program. So I'm talking to folks on the right, asking that question. How do you feel about Chris Christie's statement? Which is why I'm asking folks, do you feel that Trump is the best person, the best candidate going forward in 2024? And I get your point, Nature's Nirvana, I love the name, says, isn't Chris Christie running? I don't believe so. He hasn't announced. I believe it's going to be DeSantis. Sean Stitch, welcome to the
program. And we'll start out with the obvious question. In regards to President Trump coming back. By the way, Sean, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Trump
Hey, my
on
brother,
Twitter.
I'm gonna call you handsome, but what can I call you, sir?
You can call me Tim.
All right, Tim. I'm Sean. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right,
what do you think about back on
those two
Twitter?
questions? I got two answers. One, what Chris Christie said. Now we talking about. Now I'm from New York. We talking about someone who sat there in closed beaches and is photographic evidence of him sitting on his fat ass on the beach that he closed long before Trump even ran. So coming from somebody like that saying that he's just thinking about himself, I would think about that too.
What about the phrase "takes one to know one"? If you think
exactly.
Okay.
But those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Well, shit, we're talking about Trump now.
No, we're talking about whoever's paying him off to say that.
We're talking about Trump.
Okay, the second question. Is Trump our best savior? I would say yes, but unfortunately, yes. He's hated by so many right now.
Why is that?
Because of his attitude and everything that he does besides running the country. Does he have great ideas? Does he run the country like a business? Yes. Does he know how to be a businessman? He's a millionaire. Of course he knows business. Is he an arrogant son of a bitch? Yes, he is. Does he grab women by their privates? Yes, he is. The best thing that could happen to this country is someone new with the ideas of this man that's not hated so much. And for this great man to concede, not to fight or smear the better component, knowing that how many people hate him, even maybe backing the guy. And Trump might not be a bad vice president. You know what I'm saying? If he was pulling strings.
Wait a minute. You think that Trump taking the lower end of the ticket as a VP could still be a good idea? Let's say DeSantis ran with Trump as a VP. You think that's a good idea?
I don't know. I don't get that deep into it, to be honest with you. I just know as an American, I know I was in better shape. I'm sure you were when Trump was running things, but you know what I'm saying? The obvious. I am not going to pick a candidate because of one issue, because they don't like Spanish people. Out of the million other issues, I'm just saying. I'm not saying nothing.
What if you are a Spanish person? That wouldn't matter to you?
Well, it's one dies or 1,000 dies. Who are you going to pick?
So if you had a candidate that was giving you a good economy and doing all of the things you prefer of Trump, but it was a black person that openly did not like white people, you would still endorse him?
That's pretty much what's going on in New York right now.
But that doesn't answer my question. Would you
Would I
endorse?
endorse him? Would I
Yeah.
endorse him? Yes, I would.
Okay. All right.
Because you know something? Because maybe he'll open his eyes and see the real person in front of him instead of a white person, as I do.
And what if he never did it?
He only got 4 years to run the country. I promise you I'm going to be here.
Okay, all right, that's a different take. Okay, but you are right. They would only have 4 years. I do agree with that part, but I don't know in 2022. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 10,000 likes. Bring me more MAGA. It's been the likes have been coming in slow. Let your thumbs not be lazy. I appreciate you if you tap your screen, get your boys' likes up. I don't know in 2022, Sean, if someone would knowingly endorse a candidate that was running on a platform of intolerance if they were the hated group. I just can't see it.
But we going off track now. That's not the actual situation now, is it?
You asked. That depends.
No, I didn't. No, I
possibly
made a point.
tolerant,
We were making a point. That's not the situation, though. At the current situation, is it? So let's not talk and go off track here. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. If you ask
Why
folks,
you think any one of the candidates besides the ones that are in office right now are biased to any race besides Americans? It's about time we look out for Americans.
you know something? I've not heard people. I mean, how many people ran between 2016 and 2020? There were 17 on the Republican side in 2016, and 20 plus Democrats ran in 2020. Or you know what I'm saying? And I don't know Andrew Yang, for instance. Nobody accused him of being intolerant, or Cory Booker, or Rick Scott. I mean, no, Trump and Biden, I've heard people say this stuff for him. So when you ask, is there any candidate out there that is not biased towards any race? I have not heard this stuff hovering over the heads of a lot of those candidates. So, I mean, I have not heard that about Paul Ryan, so no, I don't know about that.
Well, you're actually confirming what I'm saying. That's not an issue in today's politics, is it not?
I disagree. Because if you ask folks why they
so be specific. What politician got a problem?
Let me finish answering your question. If you ask why they did not vote for Trump, there is a segment
I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that. You saying that there's somebody in office. There's somebody in office who is slinging dislike towards a race or a person or a gender. Mm-hmm. Now, who would that? And I'm saying that doesn't seem to be the topic right now with, the issue. You're saying it is. Could you specifically say which one and why you would think that, please?
Well, there's plenty of people who believe Biden, for instance, who is in office right now, is intolerant. There are plenty of people.
I know he is.
Okay, so there's one of your answers, but Trump is on the ballot. He is on the ballot.
Biden ain't got a chance unless they cheat their ass off. Ain't no red-blooded American gonna vote for that man. Let me tell you something. Look at the country we're in. We were in a lot better shape before. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican who win. I want the best for this country. We know Biden ain't it. So Biden's bye-bye. So there's not really a question on, does he hate? He's on tape stating hate. He created that crack law.
Why do you think Biden is bye-bye? Give me your spiel on that. Why do you think Biden is bye-bye?
Besides his age, besides his mental capacity.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you something you can't see yourself. Do you want him representing your country?
If Fetterman could win in Pennsylvania, you think Biden is worse off than Fetterman?
Can I ask you a question?
Please do.
Do you think Biden's really running this country?
Yes. What's your next question?
No, I don't have a follow-up.
Okay.
I just want to know that.
Let me give you a more detailed answer on why I said yes. The vast majority of the people, in fact, not even I think just about everyone I've ever heard that says Biden cannot put together two sentences, doesn't know where he is most of the time, has dementia. Everyone I've ever heard say that has no access to President Biden. You're not hearing Marco Rubio or Lindsey Graham or any of the Senate or Congress people that actually have access to him. They're not coming back saying that stuff. They actually talk to the guy, and none of them are coming back saying that. I mean, these are people who could benefit the Republican Party by saying that. None of them are saying that. Why is
Tim,
that?
Tim, they're all saying that. Everyone is bailing on him, even Democrats. We don't have to be in the party. We know by the videos. You see it with your own eyes. You see the confusion. You see the muttering of the mouth. You ain't got to be by his side to know. And unfortunately, my friend Tim, if you really think that he's making the total decisions, then you are a little bit, you know, you unbelievable. You got your rose-colored glasses on, is all I'm saying. You,
Okay,
as a
well
black man, should know. I'm
let's
serious.
say let's say you are right. Let's say you are right, and you know that Biden is not running the country. Then
He's a
who
puppet.
is? Then who is he a puppet for?
Dude, I'm not going to get into names because I don't want to disappear. But let me say the party. How about the party? Oh, and yeah, yo, I've seen things, Tim. I've seen things. I've seen a lot of things. I
Yeah.
swear to God, I'm not just talking out my ass. I respect everybody's opinion. I see people for who they are. I ain't got no race in me at all. But Biden, obviously, we can all agree is a piece of shit. Whoever's going to be better is going to be better. Now, I wish somebody with Trump's ideas would come in and not be as hated as Trump is. That's all.
So let me ask you this question, because you talked about Biden economy and how we were all doing better under Trump. What do you say to a young fertile woman that says, "I want to preserve my pro-choice rights, and $2 gas is not going to take that away from me. I'm more focused on making sure I don't end up in jail for murder if I exercise my pro-choice rights." Should I vote for Biden or Trump based on that? How do you respond to somebody who says that?
But gas ain't the only issue that you're talking about. I believe she should have the right to do whatever she wants with her body as consenting adults. That's the one thing I do not agree on, my brother. However, gas ain't the only topic we're talking about here. And if we're talking about gas, gas is going to cost. Gas is going to cost us mother. Wait, Tim. Let me finish, please. Please, gas. If you want to ask me a question, then why is she gonna have the choice to abort? Because she ain't gonna be able to afford the baby because she can't drive him to school because gas prices be too much. She can't, everything going up costs. Diesel fuel go up, baby formula going up. Come on, there's a trickle effect in just the gas that she happened to mention. Now the gas happened to be just one issue out of 1,000. And if there's just one issue with the abortion, brother, I will fight that on the steps of Capitol Hall with you. You know
You've
what I'm
already
saying?
lost.
Armed. I
You've already
would.
lost. Your party is not going to preserve a woman's right to choose. You've already lost that fight.
Why? By choosing the candidate?
No, your party is not going to restore a woman's right to choose. You've already lost that. If you want the right to choose for a woman to be restored, you got to vote Democrat. The right is not going to restore that. It's gone.
I don't believe that.
Have you
I
been watching
don't.
the news?
The news. You're gonna quote the news now, Tim? The news is just propaganda, brother.
Okay. Can
You
I
don't
ask
think?
you a question? Let me ask you this
Please.
question. You mentioned Democrats cheating. The 2020 election, in your
I know.
opinion,
I mentioned Biden cheating.
yeah,
Okay, good.
who won the 2020 election?
Biden.
Okay. It was won legitimately.
No.
Okay. So in other words, if the election took place legitimately, Biden would not have won.
I don't think so, but I can be wrong.
All right. I just wanted to find out where your mindset is in this. Okay, fair enough.
No,
All right,
no,
and how
no.
do you
But I don't agree with everything, all the policies. Like I said, a woman should choose what to do with her own body as adults. I don't agree with that. But I
all
don't
right.
agree with, you know what I'm saying? I am favoring the majority. In other words, I won't want 1,000 people to die. I'd rather the one die.
Okay. But when I asked you what would you tell a woman that wanted to preserve her right to choose? You gave me, well, it's not just gas prices. You start talking about baby formula and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, you didn't have a decent answer for that woman who wanted to preserve her right to choose. You just gave all these other alternatives that you think are worse.
Personally, I would be able to help that lady.
How?
Like, let's just say I got connections. Needless to say, not everybody does, and I understand that. But it's got to start somewhere, brother. All I'm saying is, I would rather fight the fight on the steps of Capitol Hill, fighting that one issue, than suffering from the 1,000 other issues that I voted against when it would help us in the family. That's all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Thank you
Sean,
very
I
much,
got
Tim.
you.
Have a great night, brother. Thank you for talking to me. God bless.
Come on back through anytime. Don't be a stranger, Sean. Okay. Make it clear, folks, for you guys who are watching. The fact that you disagree with the host, I tell you all the time, it never means a damn thing. Solemn promise, I keep that all of the time. This is a MAGA-friendly program. You can be assured, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I will never ban, block, or censor anyone for their opinions. I give you plenty of time in the box to state your point, regardless if you agree or not. This is a MAGA-friendly program. By the way, some lazy thumbs in here. I asked your boy, the boy asked for 10,000 likes. You guys are falling short. All these patriots in here, you can't get your boy 10,000 likes? Shit, make it 15. Let me go back to the box. I see in the comments, Inkhead says DeSantis and Scott in 2024. As a liberal, I'll tell you, that's a pretty strong ticket. Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott in 2024, that would be competitive. Fortunately for us liberals, you guys got your eye on Trump, and hopefully you keep your eye on Trump. But yeah, DeSantis and Tim Scott would be a very competitive ticket. Yep, you got him this time, Blue Roaches. Okay, let me go back to the box. Truth is irony. Love the name. Truth is good evening and welcome to the program.
Hey, good evening. How are you, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good. So what do you think? Trump is back on Twitter. Is that a good idea? Good for the country?
I think it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters because his cult is going to listen to whatever he says through whatever source of media they get it from. The people that have figured him out, doesn't matter if he's on Twitter or Truth Social, Parlor, doesn't matter because
I
he's already
disagree.
been exposed.
You know, I will tell you to some degree, truth is irony. I kind of disagree. And here's my spiel. You can let me know where I'm getting it wrong. But I believe that right now, it still got 2 years left, but right now with Biden, his poll numbers, his economy, inflation, you hear folks talking about all of the flaws of Biden. Trump gives the voting constituents something else to focus on other than just right now what's going on with Biden. So, in my opinion, as a liberal, I believe it strongly benefits the liberal side of the aisle to have Trump speaking publicly as in many places as possible because we know what he's going to do. We know what he's going to say. We know he's going to talk about the 2020 election. Election denying was a big favorite, was a big boost to liberal candidates and all of that. So if you silence Trump, it makes folks have to focus on Biden. And right now, there's not a lot positive there. So I believe Trump
No,
should be back on Twitter.
actually, there is quite a few positive things. It's just that the messaging from the Democrats is not where it
Okay.
should be. But
Yeah. Okay.
here's the
Fair enough.
thing. There there Trump is going to expose himself on Twitter just as he has. But anyone at this point, after 6 years of this guy, 4 years in office, 2 years out, January 6th, all of that, anybody who's still on the fence about Trump is just really not paying attention. So I mean, and we've seen the results of his candidacy, of his backing. Uh, anyone anywhere there's a tight race, if Trump comes in and puts his finger on the scale, the other person wins.
But wait a
So,
minute. How do you feel about the fact that a lot of his down ballot candidates won? I mean, his winnings among down ballot candidates was pretty strong.
oh yeah, well, there's pockets of America that the Republican is going to win regardless. There's
True.
pockets of America that believe that Trump is their savior, that he has come in riding on a white horse, and that everything he does is going to turn out perfectly. That their life is going to be so much better because Trump, their savior, is in office.
I get
So
them every day.
those
I
in
get people
those
like that every day.
packets, yeah, in those packets of the country, he's gonna win. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. So there's, but what I'm saying is in the majority of country, I did a little research where the uh the states with the best educational the best education background are majority
I love the
Democrat
uneducated.
states. Huh?
I love the uneducated.
Right, right. So the states that Trump's going to be very effective in, it's like the county where Marjorie Taylor Greene won. It's like
Yeah.
88% of them had either a high school education or less.
Wow.
So she's
Wow.
gonna she's gonna win there because her, those people don't do the research to fact check people. and
Yeah.
and that's where the gentleman that was just on, he seemed like a nice guy, but he's an election denier. And anyone at this point, after 2 years with every single Republican known to man trying to find election fraud, and they still haven't found any type of uh, election fraud that would have impacted any race in the country, and yet they still believe it. That means that they're believing what they want to believe and not the truth, not the facts.
Yeah. I don't know. So at the end of the day, despite what has come out about the 2020 election, I do agree with you. I don't think there are people who are never going to change their mind. Trump announced he won by a landslide on election night. They believe
Hmm.
that, and I don't
Yep.
think there's anything you could ever present that would make them think otherwise. I really, even
Never.
I would tell you this. I believe in some cases, even if Trump came forward now and said, "Listen, yeah, based on what I've seen, I actually did lose." People would tell you somebody got to him. Somebody got to him.
Well,
So I
well,
don't know if you
listen.
can really
The
change
the
it.
listen. The last guy said that he said that Biden wasn't running the country. Listen, no president runs the entire United States by themselves. That's why they have administrations. That's why they have secretaries of defense. They have secretary of education, because one guy can't possibly have all the information and details and
True.
nuances of every single area of concern in the United States. So that's absolutely silly
Yeah.
to say that Biden's not running. Of course, he's not running the entire. He's getting the advice, and then he's giving the okay to people that he trusts. That's
Well,
every single president
what they're trying
except
to
Trump.
suggest is that Biden is a puppet for the George Soros types or something, that somebody else is giving Biden an agenda and he's just following it to the letter. That's what they're suggesting.
Right, but
Yeah.
okay, if that's the case, then at some point that will be exposed. I'd love to see the evidence of that, and I'd love to have that proven, because if that's the case, then it doesn't matter who you vote for. If the people that have the most money
Yeah.
are going to make all of the decisions, does it shouldn't matter if
Yeah.
Republicans or Democrats lose. But we've understood and we know that Democrats have an agenda, uh and their the agenda is people based, where Republicans have an agenda. They get the people that are poorly educated to vote for them, and then they do things for the rich. Now,
Not all the
now let
dummies
me
are they? All Republicans can't be dummies, are they?
no, not all of them. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
But a lot of them, the way they get elections through is they have enough of a base that are not intelligent or don't do the research. They get them to vote, and then the ones that are, financially secure and that it benefits them to have tax breaks for the
Right.
upper, they vote for them as well. So no, I'm not saying all of them, and there are some actual. Republicans who I think are decent people. I think Mitt Romney's a decent guy. John McCain was a decent guy. And actually, if either one of them had gotten the Republican nomination, I probably would have voted for them over Hillary. But
Well, but
here's one
they
question.
believe that John McCain and Mitt Romney are rhinos at this point.
Well, if it means that if you're a decent person, then you're a rhino, then I agree with them. So
Yeah.
so here's what I'll say to you. And this is my question to you and anybody else. And I'm not reading the comments now, but anybody else in the comments, maybe you could take a look at it. But my question is, who's the civil rights champion in the Republican Party? Who's
Damn.
that guy?
Damn. Damn. I'm not even. I can't even come up with one. And I love playing devil's advocate, but yeah, damn. I don't have an answer for that at all. That's
Yeah.
you definitely would stop half the world by coming up with that shit. I gotta move it on, Truth. That is too much
Hey.
irony for me right now.
Hey
Damn,
man, I
that's a
love what you
good one.
do,
That is
man.
a good one. That is a good one. Damn.
Yeah, I
All
love
right,
what you
man.
do, man. Keep on keeping on, bro.
All right, good talk. Good talk. The
All
truth
right.
is irony.
That was some ironic shit right there. All right, I want you guys to hear Paul. Right, there's a lot of new folks are filtering in, and truth is irony. I'm gonna use that shit. That was a home run. Okay, I want you guys to hear this. This is Paul Ryan. He was a presidential candidate back in 2016. For you guys who have the new folks that have come in here, and we'll talk about it on the other side. I'll go right back to the box.
Not Trump Republican. So I think what we now know, it's pretty clear, is with Trump we lose. So I don't mean this personally. It's just evidence. We lost the House in 18. We lost the presidency in 20. We lost the Senate in 20. And now in 2022, we should have and could have won the Senate. We didn't. And we have a much lower majority in the House because of that Trump factor. So I think it's palpable right now. We get past Trump, we start winning elections. We stick with Trump, we keep losing elections. That's just how I see it.
But he had incredible power in the primaries.
Yeah.
I mean, his candidates won in the Republican primaries almost across the board.
That's the point. He can get his people through the primaries, but they can't win general elections. So it's really clear. I think the Republican voter is going to move on. That's why I don't think he ends up winning the nomination at the end of the day. I think we have a great stable of good, capable conservatives who are more than capable of winning this primary for presidency and winning the election. And I think Republican voters know that. So that's why I think our voters ultimately who really want to win are going to give us candidates who can win.
What will it mean to the Republican Party if he actually wins the nomination again?
We probably likely lose the White House.
Wow.
We just did in 20. So I think we probably lose the White House with Trump. And if there's someone not named Trump, my guess is we win the White House.
But if I'm saying if he wins the general election, if he becomes president again, I mean, the way Liz Cheney has put it, it's like an existential threat to the country.
I just don't think I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he'll win.
He's just unelectable.
I think he's unelectable because that suburban voter, you think he's more popular since the 2018 election with the swing voter in America or less?
No evidence of that at all.
So what do you guys think? You think that Paul Ryan is suggesting that? I mean, he's literally placing all of the blame of the Republican losses on Trump. I mean, he's placing 100% of it. What do you guys think? You think he's coming out of left field? I know a lot of you guys believe he is a rhino. I'll go right back to the box because he's not the only one. I played another clip. Miss Drew.
Good evening and welcome back to the program, Miss Drew. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What do you think about what Paul Ryan is saying? He's blaming all of the Republican losses recently, 2020, 2018, and now here in 2022. He's blaming them predominantly on Trump. How do you feel about that? You think he's onto something?
I think Paul Ryan's irrelevant.
But what about his point? You don't have to be relevant to make a point.
Yeah, you do have to be relevant to the conservative party. He's irrelevant to us. We don't give.
So you're saying if a candidate is irrelevant, nothing they say can be true?
It's not true. Look what happened in a lot of the state elections. Look what happened in here in North Carolina. It went completely red. From a purple state to completely red. What he says is completely irrelevant. Remember when I talked to you last time and I told you about the uniparty and you were like, what is a uniparty? Paul
Yeah.
Ryan, Lindsey Graham, uniparty. Like a Mitt
So
Romney
if there's
uniparty.
so
That's
many,
what we're
that's
talking
fair.
about.
Okay, so when you mention Lindsey Graham and well, Paul Ryan, like you said, he's not even a politician right now, but Lindsey Graham is. If there's so many politicians that are going around, huh?
He's a politician, but go ahead.
Well, okay, fair enough. Well, let me ask you this then. If there's so many politicians currently calling themselves Republican that are rhinos, never Trumpers, and people who cannot be trusted, at the end of the day, how can Trump win in 2024? And if he does win, how can he get anything done with half of the Republican politicians not liking the guy?
Because it doesn't matter what they like. It doesn't. Okay, DeSantis has stated many times he's not going to run against him. He stated that like 4 times already. They cannot run together or we have to
Do you
forfeit.
believe that?
I do. I believe DeSantis, yeah. He stated 4 times he's not going to run against him. I believe what he says. So, I mean, it would be a close primary if he chose to run against him, but they cannot run together or we forfeit Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
So, in regards to you believing DeSantis, where he will not be running in 2024, any idea during the debates why he refused to commit to serving his full term? He's only going to be in governor for 4 years before the next election, and they asked him, "Can you commit that you'll finish out your term?" And he wouldn't do it. If he's not going to run against Trump, why wouldn't he commit to the people of Florida that he's going to finish his term?
You know, I don't know, but I do know that that the people of Florida do want him to finish his term, and the people of Florida want Trump. I do know
So that leads that question where you said you don't know to become really important. Is you're right, the people of Florida wants him to remain as governor. Why, if he's running for governor of Florida, why will he not give his constituents what you're clearly saying they want, and that is you to finish your term? Why wouldn't he just say, yeah, if I'm elected, I'm going to finish my term?
But didn't he say that before he met with Paul Ryan and the other guy, the other rhino, Kevin McCarthy?
I don't know if he said it before or after. I mean, what are you saying? Before he met with them, he was thinking about running?
I mean, we still don't even know what that meeting was really about. So I think that all that intertwines together, but I don't know why he wouldn't answer that question. I really don't have an answer for that. But
Okay.
he's stated 4 times that he will not run against Trump.
Maybe he didn't answer that question because he's lying about saying he won't run against Trump.
I mean, why say 4 times that you won't run against him if you will?
To get elected.
Well, I mean, I think DeSantis has been straight up about everything else. I just don't see him lying about it.
Or what if he said, because you know politicians always are able to spin things and change their mind. What if he said at the time, I'd said that I had no intentions of running against Trump, but having reevaluate things, I do not feel Trump is what is in our best interest moving forward. And I don't believe we will win if we let Trump come forward. So I have decided that I need to reevaluate my original statement and I'm going to run. How would you respond to that?
I think anything is possible, and I think that the Republican rhinos are so desperate for DeSantis to because I believe that they know that DeSantis is their only chance of beating Trump. So
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility.
I believe that. So if it came down to DeSantis versus Trump in the primary, who would you run with?
Trump.
Okay. So you believe Trump is a better candidate. Okay, fair enough. So what happened in the midterms with Trump and Trump on all of these candidates like Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker and I'd say Ricky Lake, Kerry Lake. What happened with Trump's main candidates? Why so many of his main candidates lost?
I believe Kerry Lake won. I believe Dr. Oz lost, and he was never a good candidate. I mean, he should have. I mean, Dr. Oz really. I believe Dr. Oz was just planted there for Fetterman to win.
Yeah. What about Herschel Walker?
Herschel Walker. I don't know. I believe Georgia's blue. I
Yeah,
just
but
do.
you said Dr. Oz was planted. Herschel
Yeah.
Walker was living in Texas. You don't think Herschel Walker is a plant?
I don't know. I just believe that Georgia is blue. I just do.
Okay. You think Georgia's blue? Well,
I do.
Brian Kemp is the governor, and he's Republican.
But he bucks up against Trump though.
You said he did what?
He went against Trump in 2020, and I believe that won him 2022.
So you said he won against Trump. You believe going against Trump was in his benefit? You believe going against Trump worked to his benefit?
Yeah, because Stacey Abrams is too radical.
Okay.
She's just too radical.
Well, in regards to going against Trump working to his benefit, isn't that something that most of the Republicans that won in the midterms can say? Many of them that went against Trump did win.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah, including DeSantis, by the way. DeSantis is another one that did not get a Trump endorsement or anything, and he did probably better than any Republican running for anything that night.
I honestly, as much as I love Trump, I do. I love his policies. I am MAGA all the way. I think Trump is jealous of DeSantis. I do.
Really?
Yes.
But what about the notion of making America great? I got the old hat here, Keep America Great. On my lunch break shows, you guys will see the Make America Great. But in regards to making America great, what about putting yourself before the party and, putting your jealousy aside for the sake of the Republican Party?
I'll be the first to tell you that his ego gets in the way.
But if you put your ego over the party and over leading the country in what you think is the best direction, then are you the best person to be yelling, "Make America great"? It sounds more like you want to make yourself great.
Yes, because he wants to be the best, that his policies come out the best.
Yeah, but and that's my point. So in other words, even if someone else has what he thinks are winning policies, he's not going to endorse them because he would rather be the one implementing those policies himself.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Even if he believes someone like DeSantis is capable of doing what's in the best interest of the country, he won't support DeSantis because he wants to be the man himself. Is that what you're saying?
He did support DeSantis. He voted for him.
Well, he didn't campaign for him or anything of that nature. He just voted for him.
I don't their beef. I just don't. I think that it's Trump's fault. They need to come together. I don't get their beef. I just don't. I don't get their beef. I don't. But I think that in the primaries, it's MAGA all the way.
Okay, I want you to hear this. This is only a few seconds long, and I want you to give me your opinion on this. This is Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey.
Even actually be hell-bent on getting them done.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, however, calling on the party to cast aside former President Trump.
We keep losing and losing and losing. And the fact of the matter is, the reason we're losing is because Donald Trump has put himself before everybody else.
Is that not what you just said? I mean, do you agree with Chris Christie?
No, Chris Christie is getting paid off to say that.
But you just said the same thing. How much are you making?
What do you mean? I mean,
you just said ego yourself. You just literally said the same thing, that his ego is getting in the way.
No, I'm saying that Chris Christie, I'm not talking about his ego. He is of the same party of Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan. He's of that
No, that's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying. You said, before I put that clip on, you said that Trump's ego is getting in the way of him running the country. Then I played you a clip that Chris Christie echoed the same sentiment. And I asked you, did you agree with Chris Christie, who's literally saying the same thing you just said?
No, I think you misunderstood me. I didn't say his ego is getting in the way of the country. I said, what I meant is his ego is getting in the way of him and DeSantis. That's what I meant.
Okay, yeah, but if his ego is getting in the way of him and DeSantis, and most people believe DeSantis would probably be favored to lead yeah, say that again.
Somebody in the comment says, she isn't educated, just hang up on her. No, I'm not educated, but honey, I got a $250,000 income, so just move on, boo.
Shout out to you. By the way, you don't have to ever worry about me blocking you or banning you for what you say, even if we don't agree. You know, we've talked before, Miss Drew. I don't take anybody out for that reason. But
dude, no, I'm not educated, but it's MAGA all the way. I'm married and a $250,000 income, so keep it moving, boo.
Shout out to you. But when you said Trump's ego is getting in the way between him and DeSantis, right. If many believe that DeSantis has a strong path towards leading the country, then his ego is literally getting in the way with leading the country.
I just think it's between him and DeSantis. Okay. When he's president, it's not going to get in the way of his policies because as he wants to be the best, he's going to have the best policies.
All right. Well, I guess we're seeing it. I think we're saying the same thing. We're just seeing it differently because you're saying it's just between him and DeSantis. But if his feud with DeSantis hurts the Republican Party and liberals get reelected, then his feud has hurt the entire nation. You see what I'm saying now?
Yeah, I do see that because so many people won't vote for him because it's Trump, but they would vote for DeSantis. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. Someone gave, for instance, someone put up a DeSantis Tim Scott or DeSantis Nikki Haley ticket. I strongly believe, even as a liberal, those type of tickets would be incredibly competitive. But if you got Trump tearing down DeSantis in the background, weakening their chances, he could ultimately lead to another liberal taking the White House. So at the end of the day, even though it's against DeSantis and Trump, his ego, his argument could ultimately affect the entire nation.
Right, but DeSantis doesn't have the foreign policy experience or successes that Trump has.
Well, we elected Trump in 2016. He didn't have foreign policy experiences back then. He was just a businessman. He does
have successes now.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is you gave Trump a chance in 2016 with no experience. So why would that ban you from giving DeSantis a chance now?
It was Trump or Hillary. And I know a lot of conservatives voted for Trump because he was talking about putting conservatives on the Supreme Court.
That is true. And he was the ultimate success at that. All right. I got to move it on, Miss Drew. You know how we do.
All right. See you later.
Absolutely. Come on back anytime.
In the comments, the NWO is pulling strings on old Donald. In regards to New World Order and things like that, I say it all the time. It's above my pay grade. You know, when you start saying that, I believe it's George Soros or the Rothsteins or somebody is running everything. To me, that starts to enter the Kanye West type category. Is it true? Maybe. I don't know, but it's above my area of expertise or whatever the hell I'm doing on here. So I don't go into that. But I mean, I understand the Soros, the Rothsteins, or Rothschilds, or whatever you want to call it. To me, it just sounds like Kanye West all over again. But looking in the box, we have, I would say, this is I can't pronounce that, RDiv debates or something like that. We'll bring them on.
Good evening, by the way. Can you hear me there?
I can hear you.
Okay. What is the name there?
Robert. My name's Robert.
Okay, Robert. Okay, we'll go with that. So what do you think? Do you believe that President Trump going forward in 2024, you think he's the best candidate going forward?
Well, by all means, I think he's the only candidate, and I think he's what America wants. And I think back to what Little Paul was saying, you would say, what a failure Little Paul has become. He was a failed speaker. He couldn't get almost anything passed. He was, and how disloyal do you have to be? This little guy was given the job basically by Trump, and then now he wants to turn on Trump the minute that it becomes beneficial to him. I'm sure it does. But as far as Trump
You
being
talking
the
about
next
Paul Ryan?
little Paul, yep, little Paul, you would say what a disloyal this guy is. But
Okay.
yeah. And as far as Trump's future in this country, people need to remind themselves. So I work in Republican politics here in the United States. And when it comes to the national strategy, Trump still dominates heavily. So, because if we look at just the raw numbers, so I think this in the midterms, the national strategy still turned out for Trump. So when in the popular vote this time around, Republicans won by almost 6 million votes. And so what you saw in the midterms was a failure by state running. And this is kind of what I do for a living, is running candidates state by state and talking to the issues of each state. You didn't, but what you didn't see is a failure in the national strategy. And the thing people need to also remind themselves is I hear this sentiment so often. Trump is not worried about growing the party. Trump's party is too small. MAGA is too small. People also need to remind themselves that he brought in 11 million more votes than he did the first election, 2016 to 2020, 11 million more votes. He grew the party. He also received more, 50% of gay men voted for him. That's growing the
But wait,
party.
whoa. We said what? You believe you said 50% of gay men voted for Trump?
That's a fact. That is a fact.
I'd have to see some evidence of that.
As a
50%?
gay man in the Republican Party, I know my facts. I know my stats.
Wow. Okay. All right. I can't speak
Now
on it
that's
because I
not
don't
for
I
all
don't
of
have the numbers.
LGBT, but that or the whole LGBT mafia.
Right,
But I'm
right.
talking about for gay men.
Gay men. 50% of not like you said, not all LGBT. So we're not talking, lesbians, bi. We're
Lesbians.
just talking about strictly gay men. You're saying 50% of gay men. I'd have to see the numbers on that. I don't have them, so I can't dispute you. But I have a hard time believing that without some solid numbers in my face.
Staggering. Well, here's another little micro point, another little data point. So when you're talking about Miami-Dade, the largest county in Florida,
Right.
people
Uh-huh.
want to say that Ron DeSanctimonious had anything to do with what happened in Florida. Not so much. Between 2016 and 2020, Trump lost to Crooked by 30 points. Then when he ran against Sleepy Joe, he only lost Miami-Dade by 6 points. Trump closed that gap in Miami-Dade by 24 points himself. So when we're talking, and why is that? And because Miami-Dade is 80% Latino, it's because it's Cubans, Venezuelans, people who are fleeing communist nations. So what is Trump the contradiction to? Trump's the contradiction to communism, not Ron DeSanctimonious.
Okay. So you do believe Trump is a better candidate going forward than Ron DeSantis?
Absolutely. The thing is too, little Ron is not tested on the national level. We don't know. Republicans would be fools to think that they understand the dynamic of what Ron would play out on the national level. He has never been primaried in all of the first of the primary states. He's never gone on a national stage, and so people also give themselves historical context to remember Trump was put against what was called the Republicans of a lifetime, 16 of the great Republicans in 2016, and he knocked them all out like a heavyweight that he is.
So what about the DOJ appointing special counsel? Do you think Trump will get a fair shake in any of that?
Absolutely not. No, not even close. And I personally have such. I think it's so sad. When you go back to, let's say, 2016 when Trump was running against Crooked, Comey, because 138 of the same classification documents were found on her server. So we're talking about the highest of the high classification that they allege Trump had. But Comey came out right before and said that Hillary Clinton, they could not, quote unquote, find a prosecutor that would go against her or that would prosecute the case. Not that it was against the law or that it was or wasn't. It was that it wasn't, they couldn't find a prosecutor. And then they go on all these years later to take on Trump in the same exact light. The same argument that I would have given for her is the same argument I give for him. What does the FBI think they're doing to the country if not just dividing us even more by doing something like this? If they
Well,
weren't willing to do it
well,
then,
but
why are they
you
doing it
got to
now?
admit, even if you take the FBI and the investigations of Trump out of it, the Republican Party by itself right now is pretty damn divided. All these clips I'm playing from Republicans, people are calling them rhinos or whatever, but these aren't liberals. Chris Christie is not a liberal. Liz Cheney is not a
Oh,
liberal.
big old Chris is a big time rhino. Rhino.
No. Well, he wasn't. They weren't calling him a rhino when he ran for president in 2016.
I was. I mean, that little guy. Oh
But you
no.
get what I'm saying. When he should, in fact, the speech I just played for you right now was Friday at a Republican event. They're still inviting him to shit. If he's a rhino, why don't the Republican Party keep inviting him everywhere?
Well, it's in the name, Rhino, Republican in name only. You could be a Republican and not have the sentiments or be in line with what the Republican Party has become. Gay men are a great nuance to this conversation. So, the Republican Party of Chris Christie might not support gay men in the same way that Trump is called the nobody loved gays like Trump.
I don't think the gays believe that part. I don't think but when you start talking about rhinos, I have to because you said you do work with the Republican Party. Do you believe Trump is a genuine conservative or Republican? Does he represent Republican values in your opinion?
Well, so I think it's two different questions. Conservative is its own ideology, and as we know, let's take Richard Nixon. He was a
Okay.
liberal Republican. The Rockefellers, liberal Republicans, and so they're Republican and conservative are different. And so, do I think Trump's a conservative? I think in a lot of ways, no. He spent money. Let's talk budget. He was not a conservative fiscally, no. In ideology, to be the gay president or to be the president that loves gay people, that's not what people would traditionally think is conservative. Now, as far as the Republican Party, sure, when he took power in 2016, he rewrote the platform to be, in essence, his new Republican Party. Um,
Okay.
and so, yes, I think when we're talking about what's a rhino, it's somebody that's not in line with the current ideology of the Republican Party. I could myself find myself being a rhino one day if I'm no longer in alliance with what the Republican Party espouses.
But is Trump even Christian though? I mean, evangelicals represent a large portion of the Republican base. Is Trump even? I mean, is he real? Is he even a Christian? Does he attend church?
They would say no one's more Christian than President Donald Trump. I would say he's probably the best Christian I've ever met.
Really? With all of those
Well, no,
wives,
hold on.
all of
Second,
that
second to
infidelity?
second to Jesus Christ.
Wait, repeat that. I don't know if I heard that correctly.
The
Repeat
best.
that.
So okay, the best Christian, the best Catholic I've ever met, Jesus Christ. Jesus H. Christ. Second best, Donald J. Trump.
And elaborate on why you've come to that conclusion.
I mean, how do we not? I mean, when we're talking about ideology and what someone's doing for the country, I think you have to have a moral backbone to not be someone who sells out, to be someone who stands firm with your conviction. And so, as someone who, like I said, works in politics, you see people consistently sell out to the machine. And I don't mean sell out in a very clandestine way. I mean sell out in the ways of oftentimes I find in power, it's not a thing of monetary to sell out, it's a thing of subversion. How does someone gain a political power over you? And how are they going to manipulate that towards gaining control of you? And what you see with Trump is that he stands firm in his conviction and he doesn't lie. He does what he says he's going to do. So I think when we're thinking of, some of the great Christian presidents throughout time who lied to the nation, that is not so Christian. I think what you find in President Trump is that he told us what he would do in an honest way, and he did it.
So the multiple affairs on his wives, suggesting that he grabs women in sexually explicit way, none of that goes against Christianity, the infidelity, any of that stuff, multiple divorces.
Multiple divorces, some of the allegations that have gone against him. What I would say is that as a Christian, and as a Catholic, I'm a Catholic. We all know that we make mistakes. I don't think that anyone, including President Trump, is perfect. I think that it's incumbent to be able to look inward and be able to repent, really. I mean, and that's your relationship with God. I'm not. I would never question if somebody says that I have looked inward and I have sought counsel with God in my religion, and I'm not going to question that. No.
So you do see him as, like you said, right below Jesus Christ, huh?
Well, yeah, it was Jesus H. Christ, and then President Donald J. Trump, and then maybe Abraham Lincoln.
That's pretty strong, man. That's I don't know. I mean, that's wow. What about him suggesting that he has never in his life asked God for forgiveness?
Trump has never asked God for forgiveness?
Yeah.
If he hadn't, or he has said that, you're saying?
He has said he never asked God for forgiveness.
Well, again, to me, it's something before. I think the most important thing to do before someone dies is to ask God for forgiveness. And if you're not dead, then you still have time to ask for forgiveness.
He's 70, he's almost 80 years old. He's like 76 years old. The first 70 plus years of his life, he's never asked God for forgiveness, and you're putting him right under Jesus Christ?
You would say, doesn't he look good for almost 80?
I don't think that has anything to do with what I just said, though. He's almost 80 years old, and he's never asked God for forgiveness. Yet you're saying he is the best representative right next to Jesus Christ himself.
Well, so like I said, I would say the reasons that I've said are the reasons why I've said what I've said. But as far as why I put him where he's at, is that he's done the most for this world, second to probably Jesus Christ. So when you're talking about impact, let's talk Abraham Accords. Let's talk bringing the country together. I don't think this country has ever been more together, more accepting of each other, more love than under President Trump.
Okay. All right. I don't know where else to go with that, but I got to move it on, man. I appreciate it, Robert.
All righty, sir. Take care.
Good conversation. Okay. Looking in the that's something I have never heard anyone say. So every now and then you get a caller that says something that is radically different than what you've ever heard. And that last caller made two statements. One being that Trump, in terms of Christianity, is right under Jesus Christ, and that the country has never been more united under President Trump. Was it sarcasm? I let the folks speak. I make the solemn promise on every broadcast. It is a MAGA-friendly zone. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for what they have to say. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means anything. But those are the words that came out of his mouth. You often hear folks suggest that folks who follow Trump are in a cult. You'll never hear that coming from your humble correspondent. I'll never refer to a person who follows Trump as being in a cult, because there are a lot of legitimate reasons to vote on the right side of the aisle. But hey, when you start putting Trump under Jesus Christ, it does raise some eyebrows. And I'll leave it at that. Looking in the comments here. That dude was nuts. Says villainous dog. I like the name, by the way. Villainous dog said that dude was nuts. MAGA is a beautiful thing. It's the Democrats who tarnish it, says Latina for Trump. How does the Democrats tarnish MAGA? MAGA is about as anti-liberal, anti-democrat as they come. What do you expect, the liberals to compliment MAGA? With all of the names they've I don't know where to go with that, but you'd have to understand, even if you believe MAGA is the best thing since sliced bread, you'd have to at least understand why the liberals don't like it. I mean, have you seen how liberals are spoken, how liberals are talked about in MAGA gatherings? I mean, I don't know. I somewhat agree with the last caller, says Nature's Nirvana. All right. Right above you, Nature's Nirvana, is Lewis saying that guy is delusional. Why do you listen to all that shit? Fair question. And I'll go right back to the box, but I always believed that the best way for unity is to listen to the other side. Are you going to agree with everything coming from the other side? No, of course not. But the fact of the matter is, if you and I, me being who I represent, and you being who you represent, if we can actually have a civilized conversation, even if we disagree, we're making more progress than they are in Washington. And if we can do this in my little tiny corner of social media, they can do this shit in Washington, D.C. as well. They're just not trying.
That is why I listen to all that shit. Going to the box, Leon Archer, 761. Good evening, Leon. For some reason, if it lets you see here. Okay, Leon, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, what's going on, handsome liberal?
Not much. Good to have you back. So what do you think? We're talking about Trump going forward. A lot of my audience tends to believe that Trump is the best candidate going forward in 2024 for re-election for the Republican side of the aisle. How do you feel about that? You think that makes sense?
I think he's a proven candidate. Look at what we got now. Look at this economy. The money flying out to 401k. I mean, come on. The border wide open. I mean, you know, these to
So
me,
why
these
do you think there's so many Republican candidates speaking so ill of Trump?
Well, they never wanted him at first.
That's not true. That's not. Wait a minute. Chris Christie actually prepared Trump for the debates. He's a long-term friend of Trump. Chris Christie endorsed Trump. That's not true.
But let me tell you what I mean. Donald Trump came to Washington, D.C. and upset the whole apple cart.
He didn't upset Chris Christie.
Okay, but let me explain when I say upset. Those boys with the big money gave us Jeb Bush.
Okay.
We said no. And you don't say no to the machine. Do you understand that?
I hear you. I'm listening.
You say no to the machine. I've been watching Donald Trump since he got in there fighting. The man could never even hardly govern the damn country. Impeach Russian. Okay, you do understand that they came back and said that Russia could lose and crap wasn't real, right?
No, they did not. Robert Mueller, who did the investigating of Trump, said he can't prove that Trump is guilty, but at the same time, he cannot prove that he's innocent. The making it up part never came out.
Well, let me help you. I'm talking about the Durham investigation.
Okay.
Durham went and found stuff Mueller never looked at.
Well, they have disputed a lot of the Durham findings, though, from the Durham report.
What about the Russian guy that they actually indicted because he lied to the FBI? You didn't get that point.
I get your point. I'm just simply saying that the guy who did all of the investigating, which is Robert Mueller, did not come back with all of these other stuff you're talking about.
But what I'm trying to tell you, CNN don't carry this. Go look at the Durham report. They indicted the guy who lied to the FBI, and the FBI put this guy on their payroll. They took that information that they said was verified to a FISA court. So they made if you go look at this, these guys actually lied for 4 years, interfering with a president that we elected. So
Why do you think so many? Because you're basically saying that all of these witch hunts and people not giving Trump a chance since day one. Why do you think people have been after him so much?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not a witch hunt. See, CNN ain't gonna carry this. You know, Durham have this in a report. You can go find this. Go look at the Durham report. Remember the lawyer that he took to court that the court acquitted him, but they got emails. They got all kinds of stuff. These guys from day one was interfering. What about the FBI guy? Stroke.
Okay.
They texting each other. If they had that much evidence on you, you going to jail.
But the Russian guy you're saying that was charged, was he acquitted?
No, he was not acquitted. He got charged for lying to the FBI. But the FBI didn't get in trouble for putting them on their payroll.
Okay.
And they used it. But see, you're not going to find that in mainstream. The media, and I'm going somewhere with this. This is the problem with it, handsome liberal. I see things Trump do wrong, but I'm not going to let the machine eat him up. That's what most liberals do.
Okay, let's go with that. What have you seen Trump do wrong that you're willing to say he did wrong?
Well, when I say wrong, like what he needs to do is to calm down and quit reacting to everything in such an angry way. You're a statesman now. Get on the problems and fix it. One thing I seen this man do, the machine said, Oh, you don't deal with North Korea like that. I have never seen nobody else deal with North Korea better.
Well,
George,
in
they
regards to what Trump did, with North Korea, at the end of the day, nothing came out of that. I mean, whether you favored him going to meet Kim Jong Un or not, at the end of the day, nothing positive came out of it. Even while Trump was still in office, Kim Jong Un was starting to already fire missiles again, and the Trump excuse was, well, they're just medium range missiles. But Kim
but
Jong Un went back to his ways immediately, so
you missed
nothing
the
came out
point.
of that.
You missed. Yes, it did. Yes, I'm finna tell you. Bill Clinton gave away the house, gave his daddy all kinds of money. Trump didn't give him nothing.
What came out? What good for America came out of Trump meeting with Kim Jong Un?
It showed me that the so-called professionals didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They
What
said
good
isolated.
came out of it? I'm trying to what tangible what came out of that was tangibly we could say yes, that's good for the country. What came out of that?
The conversation with the man. You trying to tell me isolation is better than having a conversation? You just
If
said this.
nothing, if having a conversation produces no results, then yeah, there's no benefit to having a conversation.
Oh, it benefited because what did the experts say? Just isolate them. Trump
I'm
went talk
asking.
to the man.
I get that Trump did not
Right.
follow the recommendations of the experts. I understand he won against the experts, but I'm asking you now that Trump has been in office and he's no longer in office, what can
Mhm.
we look back on and say it's good that he had that conversation because it helped us? How? Where is the benefit from that?
The benefit is not to isolate. The benefit is to go forward and have a conversation. That's what I'm saying. He proved to me that the so-called expert didn't know what the hell they was talking about.
Okay, so your benefit that you see is it's good not to isolate. I don't. I mean, if he's still firing missiles and things like that, I don't see where not isolating them helped out at all.
Just don't give him the house the way they did the daddy. The way they gave his dad all this money and he still was over there all type of centrifuges and
Okay,
all
yeah,
kinds of
if you want to criticize former presidents, I'm fine with that. But I'm just simply saying you're giving Trump accolades for something where me myself as a constituent, I don't see how that benefited us. You had a conversation with the guy, okay, you didn't isolate him, but he's still firing missiles. Nothing came out of it.
I mean, sure, what you're not going to attack. You're not going to attack the country. But to me, I think when Trump talked to him, we had some kind of. I think Trump could actually make contact with this guy, and that was better than not.
They all can make contact with him. There's
But they
backdoor
didn't.
channels, so
But
any
they did
president can
not.
make contact with him. But if
But
if
they did.
if you look at what Kim
Mhm,
Jong Un was doing before Trump
mhm.
became president, and you look at what Kim Jong Un is doing after Trump was president, there's no difference other than he had a conversation with him.
That's better than the isolation. So no president to me is making those decisions. Somebody they who they said like Biden, they swear Biden had all this national security and the man ain't never been right on nothing. You ask me. He didn't want, he went into Iraq. He didn't want to kill bin Laden when he was, come on, man. But I don't believe them. And Trump came in there, he shook up the apple cart. But this is what I want to say. In the Republican Party, people like Susan Collins, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney. Show me somebody on the Democrat side break ranks like these guys. When
Joe
Nancy,
Manchin,
no, that's
Christian
the only.
Sinema,
Yeah,
AOC, Bernie
no,
Sanders, I can
oh
give you
no
a
no no
bunch
no
of
no
them.
no. Oh no no no. They might talk that noise, but at the end of the day, what did Joe do?
Joe Manchin has prevented a lot of Joe Biden's legislation.
No,
You don't see that?
What did Joe Manchin do at the end?
Well, the end does not come. Well, you're saying he came back
Mm.
over at the end? You
Oh,
know,
they all do. They all do. I
all right.
always, I always hear the Democrats say this. Well, why don't some good Republicans, break loose from ranks? Why don't some of the Democrats break loose from ranks?
No,
I don't,
we
I don't
can.
see them.
Yeah,
I don't see them
we
breaking
can go
loose.
back. We can go back and forth on what is the definition of breaking ranks. But there's a lot of Democrats that believe Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema already did break ranks, and Tulsi Gabbard is no longer even a Democrat altogether. So she certainly broke ranks.
You know she better get her tail out of there because she got too much backbone. She ex-military girl. I'm ex-military, and we built a fight. We ain't gonna take it. We ain't gonna be pushed around. But let me tell you something. I got a little answer for Mr. Truth. He said something about the civil rights. Who's the advocate in the Republican Party for civil rights?
Yes.
Okay. Why should they need one when black people are voting 97% for the Democrats?
Do you wait? You think civil rights is all about just voting alone?
I'm trying to tell you, 97% of the vote is going to Democrats. I tell you
Why
what.
Is that? Why
I'm finna hit you though. You let that thing get to like 50%. You let it get to 50%. You'll see more civil rights action over there in a little bit.
So you believe that as long as Democrats do not, or as long as black people keep voting Democrat and they don't vote for Republicans, then the Republicans are not going to fight for civil rights because they're not getting the black vote?
Ain't no power there. Why should they? Think about that. Why should they?
Because they care about civil rights is why they should.
No, that man, everything in this world is like power based. And this is why I'm the way that I am right now. Okay. As a black man, I'm like, okay, I see the game that the machine is trying to, pull on us, right? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What's right for me and my family and then my community, right? I ain't never seen a program designed to empower you. Like I'm talking about on the ground level. I used to be a PTA president inside of a school that got all this money for all these different programs. We was last place in everything and got all that money. You see, I'm like,
what I'm having trouble with is you basically admitted that if blacks do not do anything for the Republicans by voting for them, they're not going to help out with civil rights. So in other words, I will only help you out with civil rights if you do something to benefit me. Meaning I don't really care about your civil rights. If I'm not getting anything out of it, it's not my fight. That's what you just said.
Yeah, I just said that, and guess what? Let me help you with the Democrat Party. You know what they do?
Please do.
The Democrat Party, what they do, they never share the power with black people, and they'll give you all the civil rights accolade in the world. Okay. Like affirmative action. Watch this. Affirmative action was for foundational black people, went to women, went to gays. Now it's so watered down. I mean, come on. It ain't for you no more.
Okay. None of that explains why Republicans wouldn't stand up and fight for black civil rights unless they get votes. That right there is immoral in my opinion.
Well, I asked you, let me reverse that for you.
Okay.
Why is the Democrats fighting so hard for the civil rights for black people? Because they like us? You think because they like us? You think because they like us?
No, because a lot of them are us. There's a hell of a lot of black Democrats.
But you think the party like us?
What I'm trying to tell you is the party is us. How many black mayors, black Democratic mayors, black Democratic senators, Congress, they are us. There are plenty of black politicians. They are us.
See that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. The black people are in the Democrat Party.
We know that. Yeah.
And they fighting for that, right? They'll give you all the civil rights action like this. Oh, your ancestors got beaten and enslaved to vote, and they make you run and vote. And I'm like, no, when you come to me, you got to talk to me about a platform. Tell me what you're giving to the black community. Don't come to me with that old slavery, your ancestors got beaten. No. I'm the new Negro you got to talk to in the right way. You show me your platform. What's in it for me? Right?
Okay. That's fine. If what's in it for you may be something different than what they see. If they see the rise, the FBI is saying right now hate crimes are on the rise. If for them addressing that is something they see and you're more focused on the economy, then they're not going to get your vote. But the guy who does not want to see the Confederate flag waving everywhere, they're going to get his vote. So we all vote for different reasons. You just do not see validity in the Democratic Party. That's your right to do that. But the
Right.
vast majority of African Americans, as you just said, 97% vote on the other side. I'll give you
But
the last word, though, man.
my thing is this: if you wait for somebody to protect you, if they rolling around with their flags, roll with it. I got the FM. I'm always gonna take care of Leon and the family and the people around me. I had people around me. Oh man, you so military minded. I'm like, no, I'm peaceful. I believe what Jordan Peterson say. Every man should be very dangerous and peaceful and not use it until needed. That's
Fair
how that
enough.
is.
Fair enough. All right, Leon, I got to move it on. Appreciate you as well. Just say this in regards to what he's saying, being peaceful and dangerous. I understand protecting your six, being self-reliant, all of that makes sense to me. But at the end of the day, what a lot of politicians have failed to realize is that in this country, as a politician, you work for us. It is not the other way around. So if we tell you as constituents, as voters, that we don't like something and you keep doing it, you're not going to get our vote. Whether we're dangerous, as he said, and protective or not. But at the end of the day, if we're telling you, for instance, the African American community, they believe the Confederate flag is not friendly to them. They believe it's harmful. If the voters are telling you that and you keep supporting and waving it, they're not going to vote for you. That's just how it works. We employ you as a politician. You don't employ us. So the fuck your feelings mantle, for instance. If you're working for someone and they have an issue with you and you respond with fuck your feelings, you're not going to be working for that person very long. They are going to fire you. That applies in politics and anything else. You should never, I repeat, never tell voters fuck your feelings. That is, to me, is a losing strategy. You are depending on them for voting, and they're telling you they don't like something. Your response to people you need to vote for you is fuck your feelings. All right, going back to the box. Loving Life 971. Good evening, Loving Life. Welcome back to the program.
Well, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're talking about Trump being the best candidate moving forward. A lot of folks on the right do believe that Trump is still the man. What do you think?
Well, you already know my points on that. Like, I'm already like, no, he's not the best candidate. He will never be the best candidate, and there's like a bunch of even more further reasons why I say so. It's due to the fact that I mean, I just read a whole page that just kind of blew up my mind. Basically, it was talking about like basically how he defunded the military. And like basically what they were stating was like all the documents, the top secret documents, like all our top secrets and stuff, he could basically wallpaper the whole White House with that and everybody in
You're
it.
saying Trump defunded the military?
Yeah, let me show you this article that I just read real quick.
What is the source of that article? Okay, I'll give him a moment. I'm looking in the comments. My name is Toby, says user. You know, I get this every time I do these type of programs, particularly from the African American side of the audience. For some strange reason, talking to MAGA, talking to Republicans, trying to have a sensible conversation is so disliked that they automatically assume I'm a sellout and Uncle Tom and Uncle Ruckus or something of that nature. I don't know, but it's predominantly left-leaning African Americans that do not support me talking to the right. I've said it before, even though I lean left, I prefer talking to MAGA because I do believe MAGA does not get a fair play in the media. And I also believe that we need this type of civilized dialogue reaching across the aisle because so many don't do it. You go on TikTok, most of the liberal programs are bashing the right, bashing Trump, and everybody is liberal. You go on the right side of the aisle, everybody in the box has on a red hat. Here we actually let both sides speak. Is that a crime, as Sade once saying? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, but I do get a lot of criticism. But Loving Life, are you there? You're on mute. Loving Life 971. I'll give you a few seconds. check your device. It is on mute. So if you are talking, that's why I cannot hear you. Okay, well, we'll have to move it on. His device is on mute. I admire your tolerance, says Moving Mountains. I love the name and appreciate the compliment. Oh, Toby is the guy that was on live. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I won't argue with that. Deep, let me see. Did you refund? You laugh out loud. You mean defund Trump? Okay. Oh my God, I love listening to MAGA. It's hilarious. Well, it's always a pleasure to be able to provide decent content and entertainment. So if that's why you're tuning in, you're welcome. And that the box is always open for you as well. You're welcome to come in the box. I make this solemn promise on every broadcast. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their comments. I'll go right back to the box now, but real quick, what we are talking about is I'm going to give you a couple clips. This one here is from Chris Christie.
We got to stand for the things we believe in and actually be hell-bent on getting them done.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, however, calling on the party to cast aside former President Trump.
We keep losing and losing and losing. And the fact of the matter is the reason we're losing is because Donald Trump has put himself before everybody else.
So he is saying that Trump has put himself above the party. That's not a Make America Great platform. That sounds like just the opposite. Make myself great. And if the country benefits, then so be it. Authentically becoming a friend of the program. Welcome back. Good to have you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, we've already spoken before numerous times. So clearly, you don't believe Trump is the best candidate moving forward. Am I correct?
I don't think he's the best candidate, and I think that honestly, it's considering the situation we're dealing with in our world this day and age. I don't think that he would be good as far as trying to prevent trade wars with China. We already saw him go through that phase once before. I don't think that it's going to do anything to improve the violence in our country as far as trying to stop and prevent violence in our country.
Well,
And
speaking of violence in that country, since you mentioned that, in the middle you see the on my monitor behind me. I asked the question: Are mass casualty events? I don't want to set off the TikTok censors, but are mass casualty events just part of living in America? In regards to what happened in Colorado at the LGBT nightclub, where a guy went in with a long rifle, I think he shot 18 people, killed 5. Is that just the American way at this point?
sadly, yes, I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen this since I was a little girl growing up, that schools started putting metal detectors in the so-called bad areas of town. Well, it turns out it's not just the bad areas of big urban
No.
cities that need detectors anymore for pew-pews. And then on top of it, hate is such a polarized way for politicians to make money. The impact and what it has on society trickles down into lives lost, and they don't care.
Wow. Real quick in the comments, what we're talking about, Miles 4050 said, when did that happen? That actually happened in the wee hours of the morning. A LGBT nightclub was shot up in Colorado, killing 5 and injuring 18. So that just happened less than 24 hours ago. So if you haven't seen the news today, that's the case. But you do agree that authentically, I'm the same way as you. I do believe as a condition, for instance, we all like to drive in this country. And as a condition of giving everyone an access to a car, you're going to have car accidents. And it's the same way I believe with the Second Amendment. As a condition of giving everyone firearms, you're just going to have people having mental health issues or getting involved in crime and shooting up people. I don't think, as long as we have access to firearms, I don't believe the mass casualty stuff is ever going to go away.
It's not, and it's, how do I say this without TikTok getting upset?
Use a synonym.
Okay, so in our country, we have a lot of depression. We have a
Yeah.
lot of addiction. We have a lot of poverty. And
Yeah.
all of these things are symptoms, but all these symptoms keep having further symptom exasperations, and our addictions have addictions in our country,
True.
meaning I need gas in my vehicle to get to Starbucks. Well, that means I'm putting out money for gas and I'm putting out money for caffeine. One needs the other. Well, what do? I go to work. Well, what happens when I go to work? I make money. What do I do with that money? And it's a cycle, and it's a
Yeah.
business cycle. And unfortunately, businesses understand that they all can go through the same toting lines of, let me put this candidate in office because they're going to raise the price of gas and do this and do that. And unfortunately, for our country, we don't have a way out. We haven't
Ooh.
put ourselves into a situation where we can say, I can start my own personal farm and I can work with my community and trust that I feel safe. I
But
literally met
there's a lot of countries, particularly first world countries throughout Western Europe, Australia, Japan. There's a lot of countries that do not have mass casualty events. What is it about the United States that's so unique? Because this is not happening in most first world countries.
Well, I will say this. In some of those countries, Japan has a grape culture that they're having to deal with. They have a culture of alcoholism that they developed by the fact that their country's corporate environment believes that if your boss says go out drinking, you go out drinking. The younger generation of the Asian countries are trying to prevent and fight that and say it's not cool anymore.
Yeah,
But
but
every country
you're
has its
talking about
vices.
grape and alcohol. You're talking about other ailments. I'm talking about mass casualty events. Why is that uniquely American for some reason? That's only happening here. That's not happening anywhere near remotely close in any other first world country like it is here.
Because our country is big on making weapons, our country is big on putting them into all of our games. We have our cowboys, and our um, idea of sporting is considered that type of behavior. Even in England, we don't have nearly, well, yeah, even if you were to look at England when it comes to like their hunting, they don't have nearly the same type of seasons that we do. And at the end of the day, they're not going out and deciding that they need to give that as their first toy of choice or video game of choice to their children either.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll tell you, I used to live personally. I lived in Australia. I've been to New Zealand many a times. All of the games, the Call of Duty, they have all of those games over there. They have Xbox, PlayStation, and they are just as popular with Aussie children as they are here in America. And they're not having these mass casualty events in Australia, so to speak. And they have them. Now, before you answer that, I want to ask you this in the comments. Blade 347 said we need to treat firearms like pharmaceutical drugs. Would you see any correlation to that? Would you agree with that at all?
Um, I guess in a way, yes. I can't go and get a medication that's considered over the counter for my asthma without having to show my ID, without having to have it be logged into the system each time I go to buy it to see how often I buy it out of fear that I could be doing something else with it. But somebody can go into any shop in America 5, 20, 30 times in a day, and nobody's going to go, oh my goodness, why did they have so many rounds
So
that they
what
ordered
are you
today?
recommending? Someone show up at a gun store with a prescription for an AR-15?
I think there needs to be more regulation in the system for it. If you already went one day and got a firearm, then maybe you shouldn't be able to get another firearm for nine
Oh,
months.
okay. Limitate. So in other words, not you can't be a collector of opioids. You saying you don't want to have collect like a guy with 10 AR-15s or something like that in his house. You don't want to have a collect. You're talking about for a need to use type deal where you can have a firearm, but it's based on a need to use as
Right.
opposed to being a collector.
Right. Or if you're looking that you want to be a collector, your collecting process is a lot slower. So if you're really that desperate to want to go and create mass casualty, you're not going to be able to without hopefully somebody eventually saying, hey, This person, every year they're buying a weapon. Why? Let's understand this better. What's going on with their mental health? Let's check into it.
What about raising the age? How do you feel about folks suggesting that you raise the age of maturity to 21 or 25 to own a weapon?
I hate to say it, but I don't think that's going to help. I think that the only reason you don't see it happening so much at a higher age range is with the fact that most Americans are hopefully by that age getting medical care if they were able to bypass the situations that in youth would have been you're up in arms and going out there and doing crazy things. I don't think it's fair to blame Gen Z and younger generations for our problems of uh, violence in our country because it's been going on since before Gen Z.
I don't know if let me give you, I don't know if I totally agree. And you can let me know where you think I'm getting this wrong, but I will tell you this: living in, being born and raised on the South Side of Chicago, I've been in some of the worst neighborhoods, and I'll tell you whether it's gang violence, folks fighting over drug corners and things like that, or mass casualty events, shooting up schools and things like that. The vast majority of the people doing all of this stuff are under 25. Whether it's a drive-by or getting rid of the high school classroom, it's people under 25. So when you talk about raising the age of maturity, the folks who are doing this are under that age that you would raise it to. You don't see where that would make any difference at all, huh?
I could see it potentially making a difference. I'm not saying that it wouldn't make a difference, but I don't think it gets rid of the root cause problem. That's my thing. I think that if we're trying to really take an analysis of it, usually the root cause goes back to some form of hurt that that person has, and they've decided they want to take that hurt out on someone else. Um, if you really are that invested that you want to go out there and make a difference in the world, you will go out there to make a difference in the world. And I went into the military at 19. I went to Iraq at 20. By the time I got back to the States, if somebody told me they wanted me to go to a firing range with them, all I would say is, oh my goodness, I don't want to have to clean all that mess and, all the seriously, like I would care less about it. And I still was barely 22 when I was getting out of the military. So to tell me that at my age, if I wanted to go to a firing range, that I shouldn't have had the right to, doesn't make sense because we're saying that we trust Americans, some of them 17 and up, to go and fight our wars and
Yeah,
to
but
deal with
wait,
weapons.
let me interrupt you to say this. When you in the military, even though we trust, as you say, people who are 18 years of age to take up arms and fight our wars, they don't trust you if you can't show that you are proficient in that weapon. Appreciate that, K Hutch. Thank you for that crown there. But yeah, if you are not proficient on your weapon, they're not going to send you out there with it. Whereas in as a regular citizen, as long as you don't have anything on your criminal record or any mental health issues, they will send you whatever you can pay for without you ever showing any proficiency on it at all. Like the shooter in Ubalde that took out, what was it? I don't remember how many kids. Was it 70 some children or whatever? Whatever he did down there. He turned 18, just placed an order and got all of that stuff. They're not going to just send you out on the loose like that in the military. You got to show you can use that thing.
Right, but showing that I can use that thing is what you're saying. Use that thing. They use
Yeah.
that thing. And at the end of the day, it's the mindset of the person using that thing. My using it is because my boss has told me that I don't have to go into work this day if I go down to the range and I take my training. Yay, cool. I don't have to be at work today. But at the same time, anybody in those situations could potentially be a dangerous person. We
True.
choose not to be dangerous people because of the fact that we respect each other, we care for each other, and we've already gone through training mentally that we're better together than apart. The people who
So
are
it's
going out there doing these things are they're in a mindset of it's me versus the world type of attitude. And I think
yeah.
that's more of a societal problem than it is even a way to diagnose
Yeah.
as a
So,
mental health problem.
so at the end of the day, you're basically saying it's just part, like just like what I said on the board there. It's just part of living in the country. People are going to get shot.
Sadly, yes, because it's not about training and weapons, as Corn Star Jima is trying to say. Because obviously, training with a weapon, whether it be on their own or it be YouTube or it be in a military group, the one difference is I respect the handsome liberal. I respect that if I'm on his show, I'm going to try to make sure that nothing happens to where I disrespect him or I disrespect his people in such a way that it's going to get us blocked, for example,
Yeah.
right?
And
I
I
could just,
appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah,
you did too. You
I,
did.
I could very well come in and just say a bunch of blah, blah, blah things, and that would be me
Right.
trained and understanding and knowing the processes of how these systems work and just blatantly having disregard for everyone versus having respect and understanding that we're here for a mutual cause of having open dialogue. I respect MAGA wanting open dialogue as I do respect other people wanting having open dialogue. The people who do things like Uvalde or Colorado or all the others go all the way back to Columbine were people who felt outcast, were people who didn't have a sense of respect, community, and concern for others. If you look
Yeah.
in Japan at their school system, they raise their children that you don't really have to worry about the academics until you know how to clean, sweep, and have respect for everybody in that room. When you look at countries such as, I think it's Norway, it may be Denmark, it's one of the more northern European countries, they can literally leave their babies in their carriage outside for fresh air while they go inside to go and grab a coffee. They
Mm.
have an actual process where they trust each other that deeply. We don't
Wow.
have that in this country. And I don't
No,
think
we don't. That is true.
we
We
ever
sure don't.
will
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, we used to. It's just yeah. It's no longer that way anymore. But authentic. I got to move it on.
Yes.
Good talk. Appreciate you coming through. And as always, thank you for your service. I didn't know you had been on. Appreciate that. Okay, looking at the comments real quick. Scotty Hazmat. He said something that you're going to hear pretty often after what's going on in Ohio, where you got those 4 college students. I believe it's 3 females and 1 male that have had their lives taken with a knife or with a sharp instrument. And he stated that are mass stabbings just part of living in Idaho? Well, the first question I'd ask is how many mass stabbings have they had in Idaho? Over the last year, over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years. Is there an epidemic of mass stabbings in Idaho? Or are we talking about one to make a point? Because when we're talking about mass casualty events, we're up to 601 this year. Now, clearly there are people there are clearly people losing their lives to sharp instruments in this country. Blunt objects, cars, and everything else. There's more than one way to take a life. However, do we have a case of 601 mass stabbing events that have taken place in this country? Are there that many mass stabbing events? Because I would submit to you, the reason people are choosing firearms to do this stuff with is because it's easier. It increases the success rate. Now I'll go right back to the box, but you hear this all the time. If you ban guns, people will find another way. If a person really wants to kill, they'll find another way to do it. My response is yes and no. If you really want to take a life, yeah, you can entertain finding other ways to do it. However, you will not find the same success rate. Any trauma surgeon will tell you if a person starts using those other methods to try to take someone's life, they're not going to succeed all the time. People who have been hit with an AR-15, the chances of them facing a mortal event compared to a knife are significantly higher. Not to mention there are whole crimes you cannot do if you don't have a firearm. Try committing a drive-by without a firearm. Let's say you see 4 or 5 of your rivals on the basketball court. You pull up to the park. You're a gang member. You see 4 or 5 of your rivals on the basketball court, and you want to take them all out. And they tell you to do it without a gun. How are you going to do that?
There are certain crimes that I would submit that are almost impossible to do without a firearm. Same thing with the amount of officers that lose their lives in the line of duty. Most of them are done with firearms. You don't hear too many officers losing their life in the line of duty with a sharp instrument. It's generally with a firearm. So I would just tell you some methods of murder are very difficult to achieve without a firearm, such as these mass casualty events in schools. It's going to be what happened in Ubalde, for instance. That number of deaths in Ubalde without a firearm, I don't think you could do that. I don't think you could achieve that number of casualties without a firearm. All right, going back to the box. This is Gangsta G-Ma.
We always have a good time. Gangsta G-Ma, good evening.
My head hurts just dealing with your show tonight. We have special ed Trumpsters that swear to God that Trump is like next to Jesus. Then you have another one that, oh my God, the blacks are voting blue for his civil rights, and he is a true Uncle Tom right there. And he's really, I swear tonight, the IQs are like two French fries of a Happy Meal, a short of a Happy Meal. I shit you not. And then now you're talking about the guns. You know what it is? The sad part about all this. United States is so selfish. They rather pick a gun over a child's life.
Whoa.
They don't want to ban an AR-15, but they don't give a damn about a child's life. They don't.
So
an
you
AR-15.
believe an AR-15 should be banned?
Yeah. Who needs an AR-15 to go shoot a deer? You won't have no meat.
Wait a minute. That's not true. The AR-15 round doesn't blow the deer to smithereens.
It does. Have you seen somebody get shot by an AR-15? I had to identify somebody. It's not a cute sight. It's truly not.
But it's a difference between a human and a deer. If you shoot a buck with an AR-15, you'll have plenty of meat. It doesn't blow the animal up.
It's scattered to hell and back.
No.
Yes, look at it. Yes, it destroys its meat.
Okay.
Even a true hunter, a true hunter will tell you, you don't need an AR-15 to go shoot Bambi.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you this. An AR-15, although it has a lot of power, the round is fairly small. And if anything,
tell that to the kids. Tell that to the kids that got killed.
Okay, well, you're talking kids now. Now you're talking about a child. Yes, a little child's body.
Tell that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, all right.
They'd rather have an AR-15 on their side. They don't give a damn about the kids. And let me tell you, we are the laughing stock of the world. We're the only place in the world that has so much violence because, the Second Amendment. We're not trying to take your guns, Riri's. We want to save our kids.
Wait. So let me ask you this. If you were to outlaw AR-15s and long rifles and get those off the street and just leave people with handguns and shotguns, you think that would save children's lives?
Do you realize we had it for 10 years? None of those. And our gun violence went down. Our gun violence went down. Go look it up. The gun violence went down.
Yeah.
The AR-15s and stuff, when they took that crap away for the 10 years, it went down.
So how do you feel about people who say, like, I can't pronounce the word. I guess he's trying to say libtard or something. He's saying people are the problem, not guns. How do you respond to that?
We have more guns than people in the United States.
That is true.
An 18-year-old kid go in and get an AR-15, but they cannot drink. Where can they drink at? What can they drink at? Okay?
Yeah. Now, I want to respond to some before we continue there, Gangsta. It's your boy T314 says mass casualty events are not real. They are created by the FBI and CIA. Last guy who said that ended. I won't even mention A. Jones because his name is banned on TikTok, but he said that about the Sandy Hook kids, and I think that's a horrible comment.
My cousin died in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was one of those kids. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's
I
a horrible.
guess
It's a horrible
when
comment to make. Yeah.
when I walked into the morgue, she was just laying out there. We were just playing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not they
I don't
picked
have a response for that. I don't
not
have a response
these
for that.
people so called with the Second Amendment. Okay, the Second Amendment, and they're crying about they're taking our guns. They don't give a damn about kids. They don't. But if it was one of their kids, they'll cry because you don't know what that gun does to a child's head.
So
They
you
had to
believe
identify with DNA.
so you
Now that
believe
tells you something.
so you believe if right wingers or if gun owners, if one of them actually had a family member that was victimized by gun violence, their tune on guns would change.
Oh hell yeah, because it was one of their kids that you couldn't see and you couldn't even identify them.
Wow. Yeah.
My cousin couldn't go in there. She told me to go in there, and it wasn't a pretty sight. So let me tell you something. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They rather have the gun than our kids. And believe it or not, let me tell you something. All those were brown kids. Well, it would have been different. It was all white kids.
Well, there's been plenty of white kids lose their lives in
No,
mass
no, I
casualty
know
events, though.
that, but they
Yeah.
still don't care. They still don't care. It was brown kids, white kids. They don't care. They want the guns. They
Yeah.
rather have a gun than have a kid.
So, as long as we protect the Second Amendment in this country, is it safe to say, from your belief, that that mass casualty events will continue to happen?
It's going to continue because they love the guns over. And no one's saying they're going to take their guns. Who needs an
Well,
AR-15?
well, here's the problem, and you let me know where you think I'm getting this wrong, but I strongly believe this, even as a liberal. If they take away long rifles, AR-15s, AK-47s, and things like that, and people are still getting shot, even if the numbers come down, let's say they take away assault rifles and the numbers come down, it won't be long before someone say, well, if we brought them down with getting rid of long rifles, how about now we start going after pistols? Maybe we could bring them down even further. You don't
They
see that
didn't do it for
happening?
10 years. They didn't do it for 10 years. They took the long rifles down. They took AR-15s. They took the machine guns. Our things went down. They didn't take nothing else away.
And that's
Our
not
things went
true.
down.
That's not. I will tell you,
They didn't
being
take our guns away.
let me respond to it. Being a resident of Chicago, they did. They did take it away. In some of the urban areas in this country, they did go further than just the assault rifles.
So what are you plan on doing? Just keeping it out there? Oh, and just call it, it's a mental health? It's just mental health. We have more guns than humans. It's more
Yeah.
to it than just calling it mental health. Quit running to mental health. It's
Well,
called baby kids. It's called
I do
ignorance.
agree with you.
It's called
I
that your
do agree
people.
with you on that. Yeah, I
It's
agree
called
that if
people are
it,
so entitled in this country that nobody gives a damn about life. They rather give a damn about a gun. And then look what we got coming up in office again. Trump, for God's sake. This country's going to hell in a damn handbag. We have the right going bipolar. They only had a period stain. They need my doll because they're going bipolar. What is it? Ron DeSantis plus Trump, they're gonna go slanging each other. Republican Party's going to hell in a handbag. We're just kicking back watching the thing. But you know what? It might change though, and I promise you it might change. The Gen Z's coming and we're coming back. Because you know who's living through all this shit? Is the kids. And
yeah.
guess what? 2024, there's more kids coming. More kids. And they're
Mhm.
tired of having to be not safe in schools. They're tired of having these damn drills. They're tired of getting shot at going to school. And all these little punk asses, oh, let's go arm the school. That's it.
So
Let's go arm it.
wait. Hold on, Gangster G Man.
Mm-hmm.
In the comments, Tiny Tim needs love too. And by the way, my name is Tim, and I need love. But
Oh, oh.
Tiny Tim needs love too. Says Trump is loved by many kids. How do you respond to someone who's saying there are plenty of Trump supporters among Gen Z?
Oh, for real? Remember when he had that big old rally? And what did the Ginsings do? They got all those damn tickets, right? Made him look like a fool. Who loves who? Do you know who loves Trump? Do you know who loves Trump? The Caucasian little haters, the ones that don't like our brown asses. That's the
All
one that
right,
don't want.
gangster.
Hmm.
All right, gangster. You
Yeah.
know how we got to do it. I got to move
I
it
know. I
on,
got
but
to. I got to go roll one up. But let me tell you something. At the end of the day, and rest in peace. No, it's seriously rest in peace to the LGBTQ community. They lost 5 people
yeah,
for
yeah,
hate. This
that's
was
yeah,
hate.
that's really
This was
disappointing. All
hate.
right, gangster.
This was a
Enjoy that.
hate crime. You have a good
Enjoy
one.
that puff. You too. You too. In the comments, says she's racist, says Melanie for Trump. What is she? Well, I guess the comment she said at the end is what you're talking about. Ask her what most gun deaths are caused from. What are most gun deaths caused? Are you talking caliber? I mean, obviously a gun death is caused from the gun. Or the person shooting them. I don't know. I don't get that one. Reality is Gen Z votes left because they're sick of the right letting them get murdered. Uncle Scotty, in my opinion, now she pointed out and I'll go right back to the box. There's a lot of you in there, but she pointed out that they're tired of going through metal detectors and things like that in schools. In my opinion, there's a host of reasons why Gen Z votes left, and it's everything from abortion to marijuana legalization, their opinion on police. They're not very Christian. There's a host of reasons that the right is on the other side of. So I don't believe the right has a lot that resonates with Gen Z, which is why when you look at the people who do typically vote right, they're much older. All right, going back to the box, it is black 0.
You know I'm not gonna hold. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come on camera saying this. I'm at work when I saw this. If y'all want to be so gung ho about basically having the Second Amendment and Second Amendment so freaking bad, how about this? How about we arm the children? How about that? We arm the fucking children. Since y'all care about this amendment so goddamn bad, why don't we arm the fucking children?
Okay, hold up. Why would you? How young are you talking about going?
That's all. You should see these comments. I'm going like this. It's mind-boggling how they want to keep this amendment. It's mind-boggling. The AR-15 should be.
But wait a minute. They believe that if we are not armed, like, okay, a good example. You see how much.
I will ask this like Gangster asked this. Why would you need an AR-15? You can't use it for hunting. You can't use it for damn home protection. Why would you need a gun that powerful?
Let me respond to that. Even as a liberal, I'll respond to this. You see what's going on in Ukraine right now. They need us to provide them with weapons because they are being attacked. A lot of folks in America believe that because we all are armed, what is happening in the Ukraine could not happen here very easily because there would be so much resistance because we are already armed. That's one reason. So how do you respond to that?
All I'm saying is this when it comes down to these rifles, right? It's so easy to get in this country. It is so easy. Let me tell you this right now. This is too soon to make up. Me and my niece went to a gun store basically in Dublin, California, and we literally took the gun registration test. Okay. The gun registration test is easier than the actual DMV driving written test and driving test combined. That's how easy it is.
Yeah, and the thing I was going to tell you is, in your state, you're taking a gun registration test. In most states, that test does not even exist.
Exactly. So I'm going like, it is so it's mind-boggling. We are given. I had to look this up before I came on this app. You know who people was looking up in the United States when COVID happened? This is too soon to make up. These are the 3 top things that people are looking up: ammunition, toilet paper, and when is the purge happening?
Well, they thought it was going to be. If you've been watching,
I would literally tag you in the video, and you know I will. I would literally tag you in the video. These are the 3 top things that people were looking up in America when we have to be sheltered in place, when the purge was coming. I swear to God, it was 43% of this country that was looking up ammunition. 63% was looking up toilet paper rations and rice. It was 75%. 75% in this country, most of it right wing, were looking up when is the purge.
Okay. Well, let me ask you. This is more along the line of what we're talking about. So based on what you said in the comments, RLA said, so nobody should have a gun. Do you believe
Did
gun
I say
ownership
that?
in this country?
Did I say that?
That's what
Did I say
we're
that?
trying to
No.
get clarity. We're
Here's the
trying to
thing.
get clarity.
Let me put all of this perspective. All of this perspective. One, I said this on your live. I had a 44 Python, a 45 Colt, and a 357 mag. All 6 shooters legally.
Okay.
So I'm going like this. I'm not anti Second Amendment, but what I am is anti stupidity. They're giving
Elaborate.
guns. They're giving guns to. Here's what I'm thinking like this. This what should lower down basically people with that's trying to basically be so bloodthirsty they want to shoot somebody. One, I think when you go buy a gun, take it apart, take it fully apart, bullets and all. They should have a gun range. We're saying if you want to take this test, it should be just like the driving test. You can't get this gun or have this license until you put this gun together. I can't physically let you own this gun unless you can demonstrate that you can
But wait a
actually
minute.
own
Hold
this
on.
gun
Wait a
and
minute.
shoot it
Wait a
properly.
minute. You do realize that driving is a privilege and owning a gun is and having firearms is a right, don't you?
But owning a gun like that, I'm going like this. Here's the thing. First of all, if anybody ever I've taken apart an AR-15. That thing's a jigsaw puzzle. So if you can't literally put this gun back together, you have to take it apart to clean it. So you can't put this gun back together and properly shoot it. You don't need to have this gun. You don't need to have this gun. I'm being brutally honest.
So what if you got a grandma, the husband has passed away and she lives by herself as a widow and she wants a firearm to protect herself. You said if she cannot take it apart and do all of that, you would not allow her to have it?
Works just fine. A shotgun works just fine. A here's the thing, a Glock works just fine. A damn 6-shooter works just fine. Why do you need a gun that's literally meant for hate? I'm going like this. This is the number one. If you look this up, this is the number one gun of mass pum-pums. I'm sick of using these damn TikTok words. Mass shootings. This is the number one gun. They don't buy any other gun other than this one and the AK-47. I did the research when it came out of this. I'm literally saying this.
So what do you do when they have an issue like at Virginia Tech where the guy took dozens of lives with pistols?
Mental health check too. That's the second thing. Mental health, it should be another. If you think this man is unhinged, that he can really, if you selling this gun, most of these guns that's been bought for these mass pum-pums has been legal. So they had to buy it from a registered gun seller. And guess what? You have to get a license to get that too.
So your common sense stops at long rifles, but as long as people want pistols, you're okay with that.
I'm saying that no, I'm saying this. When it comes down to concealed weaponry, when it comes down to weaponry and long range, they both should be at the age 25 to own a gun. They should raise the age range. 2, it should be a mental health check. 3, there should be basically a standardized test to operate this dang machinery or gun that you're about to buy. If you can't properly put this gun correct and load it properly, you should not have this gun. And 4, if this gun is fully in your name, you should be brought up on charges if this gun is used to unalive somebody.
So if let's say a person meets all your demands and they end up purchasing an AR-15 and somebody breaks in their car and steals it and causes a mass casualty event, you think the person who owned the firearm?
I'm literally going like this. Why would a gun, a long range rifle, which is an AR-15, why would a gun like that be in your car unattended without a lock? Without a lock.
Okay, so you're saying also a law requiring guns to be locked at all times when you're not using them?
Yes, it should be. Here's the thing. If you can be a responsible driver, you can also be a responsible gun owner. Pure point blank. How many kids have committed?
Wait a minute. Let's say you're going out hunting and you're going to be leaving at 4 a.m. So you went to the car and you've loaded up your car before bedtime so that you can just get up in the morning and drive, and the rifle is in there. You're going to say that's against the law?
They make locks for guns. They make physical locks with fingerprint readers. If this gun is stolen out your car, I'm saying this. For people that saying, what am I smoking? This is actually true. They do make locks for your gun. Other than putting in your car, they do actually make physical trigger locks that's been on the internet for years to lock properly your gun. I used to have three of them. Like I said, I used to have three 6-shooters. And if you shot a 357 mag, the recoil on that is as hard as a mother effer. So I'm going like this. I literally had locks for my gun that I had the key to.
All right, I want
This
to
key never
present
left
this.
my side.
Okay, I want to present this to you and the audience. You guys in the audience say yes or no in regards to how you feel about this. But based on what I'm hearing from you, Widow, is that, or Black Wing Zero, is that you're saying if you have a firearm in the car, that is irresponsible. And if something happens, if somebody breaks in your car and takes that firearm, you should be held accountable for what happens to it. Is that the way you guys in the audience? Is that the way you guys in the audience believe as well? Yes or no?
Can I say this real talk? I've been working security for 20 years. Here's one thing though, you will literally get fired because I do have armed security in my company. If you leave your gun unattended and not locked properly in your case and anything else, you can physically lose your job. Lose your job. And guess what? Most of these guns are owned by the company. So if the company finds out that this gun has been unlocked, unattended, and also basically used as a weapon, not only the gun owner that they signed it to will get fired and brought up on charges. Guess what? The damn gun will be used as evidence saying you probably unlocked your gun. That's accessory to murder.
All right. I gotta move it on, but I wanted to get clarity. So you are saying if you leave a gun unlocked in your vehicle, and your vehicle is locked, but somebody smashes the window and takes your
I work
pistol
in
or your
San
rifle
Francisco.
out
Do
of there.
you know how many times I've seen people smash into a car? I work in San Francisco. That's what happens on a daily. So if you have a gun that's fully loaded inside a car, unattended, guess what? You are irresponsible gun owner. Pure point blank. Why would you basically have a gun in your car loaded, unattended, unlocked, and inside your car where somebody can get it?
All right. Fair enough. Come on back to anytime when you came with question anytime. Come on back through. Okay, looking at the comments, and there are a few folks. It looks like most of the folks. Now, make no mistake about it. My audience typically leans right. This is a MAGA friendly program, but liberals are welcome. And by the way, tap the screen. I should be above 30,000 likes. There's plenty of patriots and liberals in here. Tap the screen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. But there were some folks in here agreeing with Black Wing that if you leave a firearm in your vehicle, now the vehicle is locked, so busting out the window is breaking and entering. But he's saying that if you go in that vehicle and take that firearm out, somebody goes in that vehicle and take your firearm, you should be held accountable for what they do with the firearm because you were irresponsible in leaving your firearm in a locked car, and that's not safe enough. There's a few people who believe that. By the way, folks, helps out the analytics or helps out the algorithms. Certainly would help your boy out. Follow the program. This is what we do. I make the solemn promise that I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their comments. Give you plenty of time in the box. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing here. And as I always say, it's a MAGA-friendly program. My preferred guests are MAGA, but I do talk to liberals as well. All right, going to the comment section. Let's try Loving Life again. I know you had a little tangled with your audio. Loving Life, good evening. Can you hear me now?
Hey, Mr. Lynn.
You're real muffled.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's kind of delayed.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Leaving a gun in a locked vehicle. If the gun is stolen from the vehicle, the owner of the gun should be held accountable for what happens. How do you feel about that? All right. Loving Life, you got something going on over there. I don't know what's going on. Moving on. Gun laws just disarm innocent, law-abiding people, says Free Runner. Well, in regards to that statement, I have to ask the question of why is it that mass casualty events involving firearms seems to be so uniquely American?
There's a hell of a lot of first world countries out there. And I know, despite some of my patriots out there, there are plenty of other countries you can go where you're free as well. I'm your host, your humble correspondent. I have lived overseas, and I can assure you, I've worked overseas, I own vehicles overseas, and I can assure you that you could do just about everything overseas in some countries that you can do here. So the idea that America has some type of patent on freedom, it's just simply not true. It's simply not true. You can be free other places. You can argue which country is better. That's up to what you actually find more relevant to how you want to live your lifestyle. But if you want to have a car and a white picket fence and all, you can do that in other countries. That's not something that you can only do in America. So we need to get out of the notion that everywhere else is oppressed and America's the only free country. It's not true. All right, looking in the box, we will go straight to Vass37. Good evening, Vass.
If it lets you come in, it looks like it's kind of, my TikTok is acting weird tonight. Vass, good evening.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. Good to have you on. What do you think about, do you believe a gun owner should be responsible if their firearm is stolen out of their car?
Not really. But I think there's more of a solution to it that would. It goes as far as like accountability, and it would. I would say it would take like a large lawsuit, because what he's saying when, like the dude before, not the one. Now listen, the one that you had on before when he was talking about the locks, you would have to hold the companies accountable for making a product, and the question would be, what are the endangerment to society, right? You would ask the courts, like, are these companies endangering society, regardless of, so now you want to break down what is protection in a house, right? Is an AR-15 protection in a house, or is a Glock enough for a protection in a house? You see what I'm saying? Do you need Right, but do you need a 50 round drum, or do you just need a 5 clip, with 5 shots? Because let me
give you a real world example, because this made the news. It was pretty well known when it happened in Oklahoma. I believe it was Oklahoma City. There was a guy at home in his house, and three young folks. I don't think they were even 18, so I want to say juveniles. But 3 juveniles burglarized the home while the guy was there. And he was on the phone with 911. Now, they came in wearing black and things like that. It was 3 of them. And they came in the house. He was on the phone telling 911 he was going to defend his home. And he ultimately killed all 3 of those intruders with a 5-shot weapon that you're talking about. Chances are that would not have happened. Now, I don't believe the 3 juveniles were armed, but he didn't know that. And he had I believe he was on the upstairs railing or something, and he shot down when they were coming in through the door or whatever. But he killed all 3 of them. And when you asked about whether you need an AR or a 5-shot pistol, if you got multiple intruders, 5 shots is not a lot of rounds.
No, but we're going to say that. Why do I need 50 shots for AR-15? That's when you're going to start to question.
I get your point, but the overwhelming majority of folks loading up AR-15s are not popping in 50-round magazines.
Shit.
You really think that? Isn't it a 30-round man?
Look, my partner got a 45. They got 30. Okay. Let's see. I can go on and on like that. The drums is the shit. They call them honey buns.
But don't that stuff jam? Don't that stuff jam a lot?
So yeah, sometimes, like depending on, like, they put them stocks on there. The stocks on there, they'll jam because they rapidly coming out.
If you're someone that's really taking your home security and personal security seriously, why would you use something that's known to jam?
Right, but I wouldn't. But as long as you clean. But if you clean them and stuff like that, like I ain't clean mine, so shit, I don't know what mine to do. But I don't pull it out. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be better to get a 17-round mag or whatever is a 30-round mag and tape two of them together and use something that's more reliable?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
you could,
Yeah, I don't
but
see it.
it's more. You know what's it called? Convenient though. If you got all 30 already ready to go,
It ain't convenient if the thing jams up and you got to clean around out of the mag. That ain't, or you got to clean around out of the chamber. That ain't convenient. They can get your ass killed. Why not? You, like I said, if you got two magazines taped in opposite directions, you can flip them around. How long does it
yeah.
take to
But that
pop
that
one out and flip it around?
no. But they can jam like that too.
Yeah,
and they can
yeah, but
jam either
it's
way it
less
goes.
likely, right?
I mean, I see what you're saying, but you said less likely, but it's still likely.
Okay.
you
All
know.
right, fair enough. Well,
Uh, but
I'm no AR expert at the end of the day. I mean, if what I carry is, I don't carry anything big like that. But at the end of the day, in regards to home defense, due to the power of an AR-15, I mean, it's likely to go right through the wall, isn't it?
yeah, but they have the AR. There's different ARs, right? There's the AR-12, right? Which
Okay.
that's an AR. It's the AR build, but it shoots 12 gauges slugs.
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's called the
I'm
AR.
no
It's the
AR expert.
AR-S12. It's called the
Okay.
AR-S12.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Would that
yeah.
be good for
It's
home
it's a
defense?
beautiful,
Would that be
huh?
good for home defense?
Not for the person that's coming in my home. He walked through. I tell you what, walk through here. Let a motherfucker walk through here, and I'm gonna let you ask him. Like, hey man, you think AR-12 S12 was good for the home defense? See what he say. I'll let. Hey,
Okay, I get your
I'll
point.
leave it up to the public. see what you think.
Okay. In other words, you're talking about. In
So
other
far, I
words,
haven't
it's
had any.
overkill.
Yeah, well, so far I haven't had any contenders, but as soon as I get one, I'll let you know. you know, but I would say, man, for the most part, and this is just going back to the guns, man. You know, um, what it's going to take to get rid of the topic is the mentality and the mental thinking of Americans. Period. It's going
So
to take a lot.
how are you going to address mental health issues when you can't even get the Republicans to agree that people need to have health care?
Well, for one, you don't even know who needs mental health. You
Well,
don't
yeah, but
even know.
if they have no health care, the people who do need mental health are going to have a hard time getting it.
Right. And so you're gonna hope, right? So here's your hope. Your hope is that, okay, if we get the mental health care bill rolling, make this about a bill, right? So this is
Hmm.
about Congress, and they're going to make this mental health care bill. Hopefully, the person that would commit the shooting will somehow get help before he
Yeah.
commits the shooting. It's a lot of crystal ball work going on right there. You see what I'm saying? A lot of
Yeah, I
hoping
definitely
and
see what you're saying. So at the
yeah.
end of the day, then you're suggesting what I have on the board there is that mass casualty events are just part of living in this country.
It's part of living in America until you fix the mentality of Americans. That's the only. There's no law because the Second Amendment was first. So regardless of what we think, I was like, even when I said, well, man, take a class action lawsuit, and go back, do the research and find out how somebody has this, that, and the other, right?
Okay.
You still got something to run behind and protect yourself. You basically you swinging at the air. You fight. It's like fighting a ghost, man. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win.
Sounds like Cuba Gooding Jr. and boys. What is it? Boys in the Hood came home swinging at the air.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That part.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay.
It's and it's sad because until we get it right, what you're going to see is the children. So there's the
Mm.
sad part. And look, hold on. Drug issue, not a mental health issue. Okay, so he thinks that drugs is look. This
Sandy
is
Hook wasn't
America.
drug. Sandy Hook, Uvalde, them folks were not on drugs. They weren't drugged out.
Exactly, man.
Yeah,
It's
they
see
weren't
what I'm
drugged
saying. This is
out.
what happens. It regardless of what you say, somebody comes with something else.
Yeah,
They've constantly got this. Hey, well, what about this? What about this? What about this?
yeah.
What about this? And now you just off subject. You ain't even talking about what you're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
even where I'm from in Chicago, where there's a lot of shootings involved in the drug game, most of the folks doing the killing, they're not using the product. They're like Nino Brown's trying to be somebody
Yeah.
big, and they don't use their own product. Yeah, drugs, it certainly is not drugs. Most of the folks doing this stuff are not on drugs. They're not strung out
Drug.
on drugs.
No.
So yeah, it's definitely
No. Yeah.
not drugs.
Don't nobody get high and then try to do that shit. Like you got some of the young. You know what I'm saying? But shit that's going like. You know, and that's the thing, man. They keep talking about Chicago. I mean, I get tired of that. Like, that is stupid. Like, when you can turn on, dude, when you
Yeah.
turn on the local news, when you turn on your local news, you see white folk killing grandmamas, babies, kids, and you see all types of shit. Everybody want to talk about some damn Chicago. Man, look, that's just one, you know what I'm saying? And it's been going on, and it ain't even. It's bad. It's messed up. That what's going on, but there's a reason for what's going on at this time.
Yeah. Well,
You know
I'll
what I
I'll
mean?
tell you the reason Chicago gets so much notoriety is because it is a liberal bullseye. It's ties to
Right.
Obama.
Talking
It's
point.
it's known for tough gun laws. It's got a liberal administration. But in reality, when you look at the top 10 most violent cities in America, Chicago's not even in it. Memphis, St.
Right.
Louis is often number one, but St. Louis has a Republican governor, doesn't have tough gun laws, so they don't talk about it. But yeah, I understand why Chicago comes up is because it's everything liberal.
Yeah. So that's why,
Yeah.
and that's and when I go back to the mentality of America. If we talking about people dying, and the only thing that you can point out is a party and a policy, we're not gonna get nowhere. We're not getting nowhere.
Well
We
said.
never, ever, ever, ever will get anywhere because we're talking about lives. You're talking about a party. You're talking
Yeah.
about who's gonna what can I say that can make the votes go my way? If that's your concern, then you just
Yeah.
don't even worry about it. Leave it alone because you're not gonna get nowhere. You're
Fair enough.
not. You
All
just
right, Bass. I got to move it on, man. Good talk. All right, looking in the comments here. Yes, but the mirror says that Chicago doesn't have a crime problem. You know, at the end of the day, they all tell lies. I believe Governor Andrew Cuomo wasn't he wasn't honest about the COVID numbers. Ron DeSantis certainly was not honest about COVID. I mean, they all lie and say whatever the hell they got to say for their own political agenda. So if what is her name? Mayor Lightfoot, Lori Lightfoot. Folks are calling her Beetlejuice. I see you guys in the comments. If Lori Lightfoot is, saying her city is doing better than it is, she's doing what a politician does. They all do that. You think Trump was not? You think Trump was not being dishonest and saying that COVID would be gone by April of 2021? Or 2020 rather? You think that was not him trying to be overly positive? He's doing the same shit. They all do that. They're trying to tell constituents and the public something that makes them look better in the position they're doing. But yeah, Trump said COVID would just disappear by April. It wasn't based on any facts at all. And obviously, looking back, you can clearly see it was not based on any fact. But he thought it would be positive and he thought it would be encouraging, and he said it. But it's not true. All right, looking in the comment, or better in the box, who do we have here? 52 cent program. Haven't talked to 52 in a while. What's going on, 52?
You know what? Going back to that zero guy's comments. That was about three
Okay.
or four comments ago. I
Yeah.
just baked 2 dozen snickerdoodle cookies, 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies, 2 dozen
Okay.
peanut butter cookies. If a diabetic kid breaks in my house and eats them, am I liable for putting him in a coma?
What the hell?
That's the same thing as saying If I leave something in my car and you break it and steal it, it's my fault. It's my goddamn car. So don't come in here and eat my snickerdoodles if you're a diabetic.
I understand the twist you're trying. So you're basically saying that if someone breaks in your car and takes your weapons and I mean, in other words, you don't have a duty to make sure your weapons are locked up and secure.
I'm not going to lock up my snickerdoodles for the diabetics.
Okay. I didn't expect you to come from that direction, but I guess to some degree you are making a point. I can't argue with that, but I don't know. So clearly you would not support a law requiring that you keep your guns locked up.
Shit, no. I got a gun I can reach right here in a minute. And there ain't no trigger lock. What the hell's it going to do? 4 guys break in my door right there, and I'm trying to get a trigger lock off my pistol. Fuck that. No.
But if it's in your car, you're not using it for protection. If it's in the car and you're in the house.
No, but it's my car. What are you doing in it? You know, I had my hearse downtown, and I didn't lock it. I'm thinking, who's going to break in a fucking hearse, right?
Right.
So I come around the corner. There's 3 guys in it. Three south of the border gentlemen. And I
Did
said,
you talk about that hearse you showed me a picture of?
yes.
Wow.
And I said, what the fuck you doing in my car? They said, well, you left it unlocked. I said, I don't give a fuck. It's not your car. Why are you in my car? Well, it wasn't locked and we thought it'd be cool to get in it. No, it's not yours.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with it.
I get that.
I got a pistol in the console of my car. What are you doing in my car?
Okay. So I have to ask you the question then, as you see in the center on the screen there, are mass casualty events, is that just part of living in this country? There's nothing can be done about it?
If everybody had a gun, there wouldn't be as many.
Why do you think that, considering that they often happen in gun-friendly states like Parkland, Post nightclub? You've had
because everybody doesn't have a gun on them.
Well,
but if everybody did, there's only 1 criminal for every 100 law-abiding citizens. So if you're the 1 criminal, you got 99 other people with a gun to shoot your ass.
Yeah, but so what you're saying is if everybody carried a gun at all times, crime in this country would go down.
Absolutely.
You've never seen a fight, road rage incident or something and thought to yourself, I'm glad they don't have guns?
Well, if they both had guns, that'd eliminate the road rage problem.
Oh my God. Okay, that's different. But 52, you never disappoint me. But I'm just saying, though, that there are plenty of events where, because you're talking about arming everybody would make crime go down. I would submit to you, it would make the assholes more dangerous.
Well, assholes are going to be. Look at that guy that just went to jail for running through that crowd at the parade. Got 1,000 years.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't a gun.
Yeah. But that's also quite rare compared to gun shooting. Just like in Idaho, you've had 4 college students that were stabbed to death. But that's also very rare where you hear a mass casualty event that happened with a knife or a guy going through and running over a bunch of people. That doesn't happen very often.
It would happen more if guns were outlawed.
Then why isn't it happening in places where guns are outlawed, like Australia and Japan and England? Why aren't they doing that?
Because they don't have the Democratic Party to piss them off.
Oh my God. I'm not going to win with you. Oh my Lord. So you're saying, go ahead.
People, there's always going to be an asshole. You can have 50 friends at a party, and there's going to be 1 drunk that fucks it up. It doesn't matter what the situation. If you're hell bent to cause mayhem, you're going to do it with whatever you got.
Yeah. So you're basically saying just do nothing and hope for the best at this point?
No, I'm saying give everybody a damn gun, arm the children, like that guy said. Give everybody a gun, and then at least then everybody's on a legal playing field. Everything's level. Everybody's got it. Now it's a deterrent, but it's not
You
going to
are.
be a
Come on,
deterrent
52.
to some.
Now, 52, you and I go way back. You are being sarcastic, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh my God, I have to reel you in. Man. Let me ask you, what in being sincere, what is the age you believe a citizen, as long as they don't have any criminal record or mental health issues, what age do you believe a citizen should be able to have a gun?
The same age they can go in the military.
18. 18. Okay. And
And I
anything you
also
believe.
think that if you're 16 and you commit a crime, you shouldn't be able to be charged as an adult. If you're not an adult, you're not an adult. If our country says 21 is the magic number, you get in the military, you can drink, you can smoke, you can drive, everything, 21. Then if you're 20 and you commit a crime, you're a juvenile.
I think now that last part we don't agree with any of the other shit, but that last part I think that's fair. I actually do, because I've seen, living on the south side of Chicago and hearing about some of the crimes that are committed there. I've seen some kids that at some pretty appallingly young ages be charged as an adult. I mean, I've heard of 12 and 13-year-olds being charged as an adult, and like you just
But they
pointed
can't
out,
buy a cigarette and they can't
right?
get a drink.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not
So
right.
I
You're either
totally
an
agree with
adult
that.
or not.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think in
You're,
some cases it's either racism or it's just the courts are mad with that person for whatever crime they did, to the point where they're literally trying to put him in a category that they should not be in. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. If you're not an adult, you're not an adult. So
there ought to be a switch. You're a juvenile, you reach a certain age, the switch gets thrown, you're an adult. And that pertains to everything. Don't make it 16 to drive, 18 to go in the military, 21 to drink. No, those are kids then. If you got to be 21 to do everything, then at 18 you're a kid. Let's pick a number, and that's the adult number. That's the threshold. Prior to that, you can't do those things. After that, you can.
Fair enough. And at the end, we came to an agreement. I gotta go, 52. Gotta part ways with you. Good to hear from you again, man. Sorry to hear about your hearse, but good to hear from you.
Well, that happened a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Never mind.
The cops got him.
Okay.
That's all good.
Right.
They had a talking to.
Okay, fair enough. All right, come on back to anytime, man. Good talk.
All right, brother.
Looking at the comments here, Andrew Wick. What does that say? Andrew Wickle says, Andrew Rick says, love this live. I do appreciate that. It's an honor having you guys here. Like I always say, you could be anywhere on social media, and the fact that you're here rolling with your boy is always an honor. Make that solemn promise on every broadcast. Although this is a MAGA-friendly program, MAGA is my preferred guest. Liberals are welcome too. But yeah, the solemn promise is you'll never be banned, blocked, or censored for anything you say here. I am a huge proponent of free speech, so you can come on the program. I give you plenty of time to state your point. The fact that you disagree with the host never means a damn thing. Huge proponent of free speech here, so understand that. Looking in the comments here, I like your live too, says Jackie 123. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. No, you started a fire that you can't run from that. Billy Jack Johnson, what is the fire and what am I trying to run from? Driving is not an adult thing. True. You can drive at the age of 15, I believe, in some states. Hell, this weekend there was a lot of deer killed. I don't know where that goes. Hey, Tim, show your MAGA hat. This is the failed Keep America Great campaign. But for you guys who watch the lunchtime lives I do Monday through Friday, if you're able to get on TikTok, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I'm generally here for about an hour. Same promise. Don't ban, block, or censor. Give you plenty of time in the box. By the way, so that you know, and so that you help your boy out and help out the algorithms, follow the program. Follow the channel. I do have two channels. This is the backup. My main channel has about 10 times as many followers, but it is the Handsome Liberal where you're at now. If you notice on this channel, the Handsome Liberal is spelled without the final L. The main channel has it spelled correctly. The main channel simply says the Handsome Liberal, and it's completely spelled correctly. So follow one or the other, but generally at 11:30 a.m., you'll catch me on here doing lunchtime lives. And the lunchtime lives are bigger. For some reason, the time slot is much better. More people pay attention. They're at work and things like that. But appreciate you guys that are here. Let me go back to the box and quit talking shit. Diesel, Vagabond. Good evening.
Diesel, from what I've been told, we're running out of diesel in this country. Do you think there's any validity to diesel is going to be ran? We're going to lose all our diesel in this country? Diesel.
What's going on?
Not much at all. Okay, good to hear you. I lost you there for a minute, but have you been listening into the program?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have. I actually
Okay.
jumped in as y'all were talking about the AR-15.
Tell me what we getting wrong.
All right, man. As a Marine Corps veteran and a resident of Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay.
So the AR-15. Okay, I'm also a hunter. So you compare the AR-15.
Real quick. You
Yes,
heard
sir.
about that home invasion I was talking about?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I remember that happening. Okay. So as a hunter, we use AR-15s to hunt hogs. Because you don't know if you're going to be coming up to 2 or 3 hogs or if you're going to see 20 hogs.
I've seen them hunted by helicopter with AR-15s.
Well, I don't have that kind of money.
You can take a tour and shoot out the side of a helicopter. There's plenty of YouTube videos of people doing that.
Right. Yeah. There is.
Yeah.
But also on the topic of things people don't like don't like pit bulls. Say, oh, nobody needs pit bulls. Inner cities ban pit bulls.
Yeah.
In some areas, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We use pit bulls in hog hunting.
Okay. But how do you feel about people? Let's say you live in Manhattan, or I keep talking about Chicago. There's no hogs in Chicago. Do you need an AR-15 in Chicago or Manhattan?
Do you need it? No. But you start taking away one right, then they'll take that and start taking away other rights. You compare the round of AR-15 to a 30-06 or a 30-30. I mean, the 30-30 is bigger. And you can still get magazines to put in those. You can put drums in those.
Damn. Yeah.
You can't put a hand grip on it. All right. You can't put a buttstock that folds.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
So
is that the AR-15 is customizable to your
specifications. Right. So I have to ask then, based on what I have on the board behind me, which you said in yellow there, it says our mass casualty events, just part of living in America. At the end of the day, is there nothing we can do about this shit? Is it just something we just have to learn to accept that's part of living in America?
I believe that it goes back to schools. I believe that social media was actually the downfall of our civilization and socializing as humans, because back in the 1940s and 50s, they actually taught the gun safety in schools, and there wasn't school shootings back then that I remember hearing of.
I don't know if they taught gun safety in urban schools though. I don't remember hearing my grandparents tell me they would taught how to use a gun in school. That might have been out in Oklahoma. I don't know about in the cities though.
I don't know. I just know where I come from. You know, you
Hell,
can go to
to be
you can go
honest
to
with you,
my.
yeah, to
Go
be
ahead.
honest with you, with me, when you talk about teaching gun use in the 50s, I'm sure my grandparents weren't taught because they couldn't even legally own a gun. How do you respond to Orphelia in the comments saying that there was an assault weapons ban and at that time they did not come for other guns? How do you, because you're saying that if you let them take away assault rifles, they'll start taking away other weapons. But how do you respond to people who point out that under the Clinton administration, they did have an assault rifles ban and they didn't progress to taking away other weapons?
Our government today is more vindictive than they were back then.
Oh, shit. I
We
can't,
didn't
well,
have we didn't have Nancy Pelosi back then.
well, she's leaving. She's retiring.
You're right. We didn't have Hillary Clinton back then.
She's not a
Who was
politician
making
anymore.
calls? Right.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So you
All
think
right.
if I
Now,
come, huh?
well, what I was going to say is that you can go to my high school, which I had a graduating class of 60. But you can go to my high school today, walk through a parking lot, and see a couple of pickups with rifles in the back window on racks.
So how do you feel about it? I had a few callers back that said if someone breaks in your vehicle and steals your weapon and uses it in a crime, you should be held responsible because you should have had that gun locked up. So how do you feel about someone saying that?
If somebody steals your car, hot wires it. Okay, now today's cars maybe not, but somebody finds a 2006 Honda Civic and they hotwire it and run through a crowd with that car. Should they be held accountable for using your car as a weapon?
Well, if you got a hot wire and it was locked up, it was secure.
What is a lock good for? To keep an honest man honest. And that weapon is locked up in your vehicle. Your
True.
vehicle's locked.
Okay.
Whether you use bolt cutters to cut that lock off the trigger guard or you're busting a window, you're still breaking securement of that said weapon.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Even though I do believe you should lock up your firearms. Yeah.
No, I believe that you should lock them up. You should lock
Yeah.
up the firearms in your house if you don't have it within arm's reach.
Well, what about folks who keep a firearm under the couch, one in the bathroom? I mean, obviously, this stuff is not all at arm's reach. There are people who keep firearms in every room in their house.
I don't agree with that. I have my pistol when I'm walking around. Well, okay, so we have constitutional carry in Oklahoma.
Okay.
But I keep my pistol on me.
What you doing, walking around the house? What are you doing, walking around the house butt naked, sipping orange juice with a Glock in your hand?
You damn right.
Okay, fair enough. you sound like
no. Okay,
what was the guy
they,
in the Naked Gun movies, sleep with his gun, in the Police Academy movies, who sleep with his gun?
Oh, we did that in the
love to
Marine Corps.
gun?
We did that in the Marine Corps. We did that in the Marine Corps, but yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, so
But if you want to keep a gun in your house, you want quick access to it, get one with a fingerprint reader that reads 3 fingerprints and it's open.
How quick does it take to activate that?
Like 2 seconds.
Oh, I haven't seen those yet. But what about the idea that folks would say that I want to be able to defend myself and my family, and I don't have a lot of money. Why should I have to buy all these gadgets?
That's the price of having a firearm.
Yeah, but you're supposed to have a constitutional right to defend yourself. The founding fathers didn't know what a fingerprint scanner was.
Okay, then get a wall locker and put it in there.
That still costs money.
If you got an 8 or 9 year old kid, or your sister's coming over with her kids, you want them to have access to those weapons, or are you going to do something where those kids don't have access to those weapons?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just coming at it from a devil's advocate standpoint because I know people are going to bring this stuff up. But yeah, I do agree that a locked firearm certainly makes you less liable. But like my last caller was stating, if someone breaks in the house, he don't have time to be trying to unlock stuff. So this is what you're going to hear as counterpoints.
Okay, so take a weapon, put it on top of your fridge.
But what if you're in the basement? What if you're in
my
the
thing,
basement and you're in the attic?
you can put them at high points. My whole thing about securing your weapon is keep them away from kids.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I see a whole lot. I disagree with what you're saying. I mean, listen, I'm a
If you ain't
liberal,
got
so
kids, you don't have kids coming over, by all means, leave your weapon wherever you want.
yeah.
Because if you got a weapon
Well,
in every room, if somebody breaks in, you're worried about them taking your weapon, well, you got one right there within 5 feet of you to
so let
defend
me
yourself
ask you
against
this.
your own weapon.
What if you do have a firearm in a high point, as you say, on top of the fridge or something, and your child has company over in it, and your child tells his friend, "My dad keeps a gun on top of the refrigerator," and they get access to the gun and do something? Should you be held accountable for that?
Yes, absolutely, because it was not locked up. You
Okay.
have the right for freedom of human right, yes, but for every action there is a equal or greater reaction.
I don't, yeah, see, even though I'm a lib and I lean left on a lot of this stuff, I don't think I really disagree with much of what you're saying here. I don't. I mean, you're talking about at least making an effort to make sure kids can't get a hold of it and things like that. So, I mean, the butt naked with a Glock in a glass of orange juice, I don't know about. But other than that, I think yeah, I think we agree. Yeah, I don't think we're too far off on it. But
Right.
but you do agree that mass casualty events at this point is just a condition of living in America.
Yes, I believe that we should change our educational system and uh, basically, well, okay. So where are the mass shootings happening?
Everywhere,
Let's start there. No, what type
everywhere.
of venues? The venues, the locations,
If people go
schools.
in, people go in everything from a church or a school to a police station. It's happening everywhere.
So you answer this question for me. Why is there more security for money and politicians than there is for our kids?
I don't know if that's the case anymore because you can't even get into school. You can walk into City Hall. I mean, I don't I think the protection for kids has surpassed the politicians at this point.
But not all schools have security.
They're all locked. The security is the locks and things like that. Most schools now have at least a police on standby or somebody. I mean, I would say that most schools nowadays do have security.
That last school shooting, the police were there on site.
Mm-hmm.
It was their fault why so many casualties happened because they did not go in there.
Bro, that's ineffective security. I mean, it doesn't matter how much security you have.
Where was the security inside the building for them kids?
Oh, yeah. But then if you put it inside, I mean, when you think about the size of a school, even if you put security inside of a school, if a person is using an AR to dispatch people, if you're on the third floor of the school and you hear the pops coming from the first floor, even if you get down there and neutralize the threat, he could have had 100 people already. It's happening so quick that I mean, you almost need an armed guy in every classroom.
Security and metal detectors at the entrance of the school. Every person
Yeah.
that goes through has their stuff searched. You haven't heard of a mass shooting at an airport?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think there. I know they had somebody go out there recently and fired up a shot, but no, that's probably one of the places you haven't had a mass casualty event is at an airport. But look what it took to get that. They started flying planes in the buildings before that happened. It took a hell of a lot to get that level of security.
So why wait until that happens at a school before you start upping the security to that much?
Money. The problem
Invest
is
the money now.
well, yeah,
You'll
but
lose a lot more.
what ends up happening is, okay, like right now, if you get serious about school security, when you think about the thousands of schools there are all over the country, it's going to cost a fortune. It won't be long before somebody balancing the budget says Listen, 99.9% of schools will never have a mass casualty event. Why are we wasting all this money? And then they will slowly start pulling back security because it just doesn't happen often enough.
How much money was sent overseas to something that we had no obligation for?
I get your point, but I'm just simply saying,
Could take
yeah,
that
I
money
get
and
the
put it
point.
towards the schools instead of going to help out a foreign country that has not done anything for us.
Well, we spend money on what gives us money back. And if at the end of the day, spending money on the Ukraine is going to weaken Russia and benefit the United States down the line. That's why you see money going to the Ukraine as opposed to helping out homeless or veterans. You don't get any benefit from helping out a war veteran or helping out somebody homeless. They believe there is a benefit to the country ultimately by giving money to the Ukraine. That's why that's happening. We are a capitalist country. Everything we do with our money is based on making more money. That's why poor people get no play because you don't make any money off of helping out poor.
If that were the case, why would we not send them money over there and say, in return, you send us oil since we're not able to get oil?
Because that's what's going to ultimately happen. The thing about it is this: if we do not help the Ukraine, they'll fall pretty quickly to Russia and Vladimir Putin. That means Russia now expands. We lose potential bases, we lose certain power in the region and things like that. So the United States is looking at it from that standpoint. Not only that, but also because we are the biggest exporter of military weapons, we can now sell weapons to other countries and say, listen, I know this shit worked. Look at what it did to all these Russians over here. We love using our weapons, being able to demonstrate that they work. So the Ukrainians are like our biggest advertiser right now. They're showing that these javelins are super effective. So if we need to sell some once we come up with new technology, we got all of these examples of how great this stuff is. So we love using this stuff.
I have not heard that side. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. We sell a lot of weapons, and ain't nothing
Right.
gonna sell. And there's nothing going to sell more than showing that this actually is effective. We're not making up claims it can shoot something down. Here's a bunch of pictures of things getting shot down. We're not claiming this can destroy a tank. Here's a bunch of pictures of Russian tanks being blown up. So that sells. That really will sell. We like doing that. It makes us money.
Do we really want to be an enemy of Russia, though?
Shit, when have we not? Since World War II, we've already been an enemy of Russia. Whether it's the Cuban Missile Crisis on out, we've always been an enemy of Russia.
Yeah, but we don't really want to have a true war with Russia.
No, we don't. But it's nice to know that if we did, they don't have enough weapons to help to win. I mean, they're showing us right now. One of the biggest gains we've gotten out of helping out the Ukrainians is that it has shown us that Russia currently is a paper tiger. They are nowhere near as strong as we had originally thought they were. We're able to give the Ukrainians just a limited amount of assistance. We haven't even began to give them F-35s or F-22s. We're giving them little stuff, and they're putting up a hell of a lot of resistance. So it shows us that we're learning a lot about Russian tactics and how they would respond to things, and it's letting us know that if we had to ever go to battle with them outside of the nuclear weapons, they would not have a chance. It's taught us a lot, and that is worth the money we've paid.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, I got to move it on, Diesel. Good talk,
All right,
man.
good talking to you.
Absolutely a pleasure. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
and I will tell you guys that I will say that again is that even though we've sent the Ukrainians billions of dollars, the tactical knowledge we've derived from doing that, it's worth its weight in gold. For my MAGA folks, my beloved MAGA folks, I love talking to you guys. For you guys who often state that if Trump was in office, they would have never invaded the Ukraine. You might be right, but we wouldn't have all this knowledge that we have either now. We've gained a lot of knowledge on Russian tactics, how Putin is going to react, and all of that from what has happened now. So maybe they would not have attacked the Ukraine, but we would not have gained all this knowledge out of this. And at the end of the day, we're certainly going to have a hell of an ally when it comes to the Ukrainians after this is all over with. Meaning that we now will have access to Russia's border.
There's no way to deny that. Either the Ukraine is going to become a member of NATO, or they are at least going to become a United States ally. That just gave us more power in the region. We'll make our money back. The United States doesn't do this shit for free, which is what I was telling the last caller. At the end of the day, the reason we don't do all this other stuff, people go, well, instead of helping out the Ukrainians, why don't you help out homeless? Why don't you help out veterans? Do things for Americans at home? Because they don't benefit from that. They're going to benefit from what they're doing with the Ukrainians. You just haven't seen it yet, but they're going to benefit from what's going on with the Ukraine. Whether it's getting Vladimir Putin to make a deal that he normally would not have made, or getting him completely out of power. You have to understand, Vladimir Putin has been greatly weakened by what's going on, because he's considered now a war criminal. So there's large portions of the world he can no longer go to. Large places he can no longer trade with. He's been weakened because of this. Under Trump, had this not happened, yeah, Ukraine would be okay, but Vladimir Putin would be a hell of a lot stronger than he is now. He's been weakened by this. And I'm not talking about sanctions. I'm talking about the man himself. The man cannot really feel safe leaving Russia at this point, because he's considered as a war criminal. Anyhow, folks, unfortunately, I am going to have to terminate the live because I got to get up early. I appreciate the fact that you guys have been rolling with your boy. And as I always say on every broadcast, you could be anywhere you want to be on TikTok. And the fact that you've been rolling with your boy is an honor. For you guys who have tuned in, follow the program. Follow the live stream. It's always a pleasure having you. 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I will be on here doing a lunch break live tomorrow. I always, as I say all the time, I give you plenty of time in the box to state your point. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their points. So you could go anywhere you want to be. But here we try to have civilized dialogue between both sides. That doesn't happen on a lot of live streams, but we try to do that here. So until the end, you guys, I would ask that you stay politically motivated, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.